before they've done a crime,
Oh.
and what they said. Right, if you look at what they they have to like be showing these signs.
Oh, it's
then you look
interesting.
at the list
Yeah.
of the signs, and you go, well, that's sounds like anybody if their wife died.
Sure.
So like,
Right.
it gives. I just don't like it because it's the same thing where you've now given a hotline to people to narc out their neighbors
Right.
for something
Oh, yeah.
they haven't actually done because they
Right.
might. I don't like punishing people for crimes they haven't committed or they might commit. You
Right.
got to wait till they actually do something wrong because at that point in time, we can, if the wrong person, if the other team gets in control of that power, now we can start doing that with everything,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And
you
it's just
posted this 5 years ago. What's going on with you?
It's
You're like,
not cool. It's not cool.
Yeah.
And it's not only is it not cool, it's a huge quote unquote ironic
Right.
red flag for me.
Right.
And then the final one was this alleged trans refuge bill, which is not a trans refuge bill. Again, it's pandering. They don't care about trans people. What they've actually done is they've stripped parents of their rights to not allow their children to transition. And people like to argue with me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking. I read the fucking bill. I know exactly what it says.
Sure.
And what it says is it's under child abuse and child neglect. So the state has the right to take custody of your child if you, and the first three are super obvious. It's the ones that have been there forever. If you're beating your kid, if you're neglecting your kid, if
Sure.
your kid's starving,
starving.
if you've
Sure.
abandoned your kid, like all the normal shit.
Yeah.
And then the third one in there is denying your kid child affirming health care. And then it says as per defined by, so you scroll down, you read it. It's, again, starts off innocent. Psychological treatment,
Sure.
blah, 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 blah. And then boom, right at the end is hormone therapy and gender something altering surgery
Sure.
to match gender identity or whatever.
Sure.
So it's like, no, dude, I'm not cool with this anymore. You guys have gone too far. It's
Sure.
not about being open and free anymore. It's about you deciding that you know what's best for everybody, and that's what we're doing. Is we're saying no, we want people to be happy and free, and we're going to pander to these people over
Right.
here, and we're going to get them to vote away their rights. And now we have the wrong, because again, this power is only cool because you trust yourself to have that power, but you're not going to be in power forever.
Right.
And what happens when the bad guy now possesses this ultimate power that you've bestowed your office? Now the bad guy can turn around and use
Right.
all that fucking power against you.
I'm with you. Yeah.
That's why. So
Yeah, I'm
when
with you.
people say, the GOP has lost their way, I go, okay, fine, I'll hear you out. But what the fuck does that mean? Because to me, the GOP is exactly the same party they were in the 1980s. They're fucking allegedly small government when they're not.
That's the phrase that
when they're not,
rings a bell in my head.
but
yeah.
they never have been.
Never
They've
have been.
been all just about money.
And
we just
military.
want low taxes, high money,
Yeah.
right?
And
then
military,
religion.
like miraculously doesn't
And
count
then religion.
as, military
religion.
spending or something. Or it doesn't count as, like, spending.
But here's the thing. Who's funding the military more than ever? Right now, it's the Democrats. Right now, it's the Republicans are saying, we don't want to send more money to Ukraine. So I have a hard time following people. So explain it to me. What do you mean when you say the GOP's lost their way
Oh.
and the DNC's the safer of the two parties right now?
Oh, well.
'Cause I respect you.
would
I'll hear
say,
you out,
I would
but-
say dictator on day one sounds real bad to me.
Who's a dictator?
Oh, Trump has said numerous times, I'll be a dictator on day one. Sean Hannity gives him an out.
Then why wasn't he a
that's not what you
dictator
mean.
in the first 4 years?
Well, see, I think the first 4 years he was learning the whole time of what he even had, what he could do as president. I think he realized the executive is more of a bully pulpit than it is like an actual thing that you don't make the laws, right? You don't make the bill. You don't do
Steve,
any of that.
Murph, can you
Yeah.
mute this? I got two people talking in my ear.
I know. I really.
I want to hear this, but let's at least
But
finish
yeah,
this
they
and then
already
we'll pop
launched.
into that.
They already launched into asking him questions, which is
So,
great.
but we started off before the podcast. I asked you, so you think that Biden has done a good job as president?
I think the bills that have been passed and he has signed have been very good for America, and honestly, more of a America first sort of thing, making chip manufacturing going on here, spending
Yeah,
money on
that's legit.
infrastructure, churning.
I don't know about the
churning
infrastructure
money.
bills
Well, I mean,
because it
that's-
seems like
But that's all churning money inside our country, every construction project in America is American workers.
Yeah, but
doing
at some
American
point in time, they're
work,
doing shit just for the sake of doing it.
Sure.
And they make,
I mean, there's
and
so
they
much to do,
oftentimes-
though, too.
But they oftentimes have made things worse. Here in the city, spending a lot of this money,
Sure.
here in Minneapolis, like they made traffic worse. They spent a
Sure.
lot of that money on bicycle lanes, and it's made it worse. So just spending money for the sake of spending money on infrastructure
I hear you.
isn't actually always good. At least not here, because we have
Sure.
plenty of fucking money. We had a $17 billion surplus. We're not. But when the federal government sends you money, if you don't spend it, it's a problem.
Right.
So you gotta spend it.
Yeah,
and what they spend it on, it's
Keep
like
the
now you
budget
actually.
moving.
So you
Yeah.
took free money, but you actually made my life harder
Right.
in my own areas that I live in because you spent it on something like bike lanes on main roads
Sure.
when we didn't have room for it.
But we have, I mean, we have a really nice highway system. We have a new bridge. We have.
Do we have a nice highway system?
I think so. I mean, it's.
You travel a lot.
I mean, I don't, man. I
I
work
mean, you
from
do,
home. I'm
but you
hanging out
drive.
at
You
home.
drive to
Oh,
Bonnaroo
yeah.
every year, so you travel
Yeah.
through multiple states. So
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've driven out of
Oh,
state.
yeah.
So I don't. That's why I said, do we have a good highway? Because I know our fucking traffic sucks, but I
Right.
think that's more to do with the fact that it's the winter.
I mean, I think
and we're always doing road repairs on
what I
everything.
think, I know, and I think that for Minnesota is a specific, like, there's always something to spend money on here to fix because there's always a new pothole.
And if anybody's wondering why
popping
we're
up.
talking about Minnesota when we're talking about Biden, it's because I'm lumping in the DFL with the DNC.
Sure.
I did that,
Yeah.
so I don't want anybody to think you're crossing
no.
streams here. I did that. I set you up for this. So.
But
Okay,
yeah,
I'm with you with the
but
chip
Minnesota
manufacturer.
specifically.
I'm with
yeah.
you on the chip manufacturing.
Chips, like, this is something that's going to be, no matter what's going on in the
I'm
world,
with
we're
you
going to need
on just
that
the straight up
manufacturing.
manufacturing
Yeah.
bill.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know that he passed a manufacturing bill that just straight up provides tax incentives for more people to just do straight up manufacturing of any kind back here in the States. And that was a reaction to COVID, in case anyone's confused.
Yeah,
why
all
we're
of a
doing
sudden
this.
supply chain
chains,
got big news. It's funny how quickly that stuff goes away after being like the huge buzzword. Even like commercials are saying like, due to supply chain issues, you can order 3 of these and that's it. And it's like, oh, okay. That was a funny little time we had there of like using supply chain as this like catch-all of, oh yeah, everything's more expensive, we had to do it, supply chain. It's like, okay, maybe
The added fees were the biggest bullshit
Yeah,
part of that.
yeah,
like
right.
now there's fees for everything.
Yeah.
The one that
they
really
kind of
is
Ticketmastered a lot of different businesses of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, here's this extra
convenience
like,
fee and this fee.
handling convenience high five fee. Or
what really is pissing me off is that people are blatantly passing on credit card fees to us now, when that's literally illegal in all but 2 states. Like, you can't do that. The courts have ruled on it. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Like, that's your cost of doing business. You can offer a cash discount of 3%,
Right.
but you can't add on 3% because I suddenly presented a card.
Right.
Like, that's literally illegal. But nobody says anything. Nobody complains. Everybody's caring about everything except for this one thing that matters. Oh, that one actually pisses me off, even at small businesses.
Right.
And I'll tell them, I'll be like, hey, man, I did this for a long time. This is actually super illegal. All it takes is one guy to complain or one woman to complain, and you just lose your ability to take credit cards. Visa, MasterCard, they're like, you're done. You can't do that because they get sued too.
Right.
Because, like, you can't, it's literally illegal.
You're taking that money, I guess that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep. And it's super unethical too. It's just bad business.
I know.
It's just bad business.
It's the funniest thing about going to like a cash only bar, dive bar sort of place. And you're like, oh, cool.
And then there's certain
I would
places
love
that
to see
say
what the night actually.
My favorite one now.
Taxable income.
My favorite one now is that they say some places say they don't take cash, which is also illegal.
Oh,
Like, because it says it right on the dollar bill. This is U.S. legal tender.
Right, legal tender.
Like,
yeah.
if I want to pay you in all ones, you can't say no. Go back, go exchange that, and bring me $100 bill.
Right, yeah, go get a gift card, sir.
Like if I call the cops, or if somebody calls the cops are supposed to know. Like, no, that's the U.S. legal tender. As long as you're agreeing that the amount is right, I can pay with pennies.
Right.
And you can't say no.
Oh, that's
Like, it's the law.
Yeah,
it's
right.
U.S. legal tender, dude.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I also find interesting because apparently the banks are no longer accepting change. Like you can't bring in your
really?
your like thing full of change.
Oh, that's
you
fascinating.
can't do that. I think they'll do it if it's pre-rolled, if you roll it all up.
Oh.
But that's not really a economic exchange. That's you converting your currency to another one. So
Oh,
I think that's
sure.
how they get away with that.
Huh. I wonder.
That's the one
I
that's
should-
been pissing me
I
off.
should bring some change into my local bank.
Because I'm cool with you not taking cards. That makes sense. It's a huge
Right.
cost of doing business. Guys dispute it. Like, oh, my card was stolen. You know, it's like,
right.
get the fuck out of here, dude. You were drinking.
Yeah.
And you had regrets.
Yeah, $140 part.
Yeah, you brought that girl out that you
Yeah.
fucking accidentally spent a little too much on.
And she just gave you a handshake and
Yeah,
peaced
you'd
out
have
on
paid,
you.
you'd have paid if you'd have gotten a blowjob.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, this was actually a bad night.
Okay, so I'm with you. The infrastructure bill, not so much, but
Sure.
the other stuff. So what else? What else can you genuinely say from the bottom of your heart? Biden is a good president on, because when I hear that
sure.
statement, I just chuckle.
First president to walk in a picket line, stood with unions more than any president has in a very, very long time. I think that's a notable thing. But
I don't think
that's a
either of
discussion
those
on-
things matter.
Sure. Oh,
I don't.
I mean,
come on,
it was
dude.
a big
He
deal.
walked in a picket line. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That means nothing.
To show any sort of solidarity with something that a lot of presidents have never stood for. I mean, Obama is a great example of somebody who said, "Oh, I'll get out there if teachers are not being paid well enough. I'll put on a soft shoe and get out in the picket line." He never did. He had many opportunities
What the
during
fuck
his.
does that mean? I'll put on a soft shoe.
Soft
Have you ever
shoe.
heard that phrase
Never
before?
heard that
I think it's the
before.
only time I've heard it.
What? Can you look that up? What the fuck does that mean?
Soft shoe.
Put on a soft shoe. What the fuck
It'll
does that
probably
mean?
be the only thing is
No,
before
he didn't make that up.
No,
he's
but-
too wise.
but
He was
it's
a great
gotta-
speaker,
It's
dude.
got to be like the top result.
I do gotta say, I miss the lube of Obama.
Oh, yeah.
So like, Obama
So
was fucking
smooth,
us
dude.
just as much
Yeah.
as every other president, but he was so smooth about it.
Yeah,
You're
he's-
like,
He's
all
a cool
right,
dude.
All
Yeah,
right, I
he's
get it. I
like
get it.
genuinely
I guess I'm
a guy. We all are like, yeah, I don't like his policy, but
I don't know, dude.
I'm
This
not
dude-
gonna walk away from a
this dude-
conversation with him.
When you look at this guy, he looks literally lost.
I know all the time.
All right,
And I think we're at
can
a
you
point
give me a
where
unmute for the?
I think we're at
Or
a
what? That?
Yeah. Do we know how to take that web browser? So that M, can you hotkey me in my Stream Deck so I can mute it and unmute it from here?
Yeah.
Should just be lowercase m, right? Yeah.
Maybe. Gotta be in the right thing.
Yeah, you have to be in that window in order.
Yeah.
That's the dangerous part about this.
I just can't. I mean, even just the pressure alone in my own head of what he's going up against right now is like really intense. Like, you're the sitting president. You have like, I don't know, some major percent of your party going.
Okay,
I
keep
don't
going
know,
though. Okay,
dude.
so let's
Yeah.
bang.
Oh,
let's
so-
quickly bang out
Sure.
all the things he's done well.
So those are probably my big three, but I mean, the energy production thing. He's
Well, you named like
produced
six.
more
You named like
oil.
6 things.
He has produced more oil than any other president in the country,
And then
which is
gave it all to another country.
I mean,
So I mean, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so
Yeah.
he made a bunch of shit and then
No,
gave it away. Like,
yeah.
that's not a win for us, dude.
well, I mean, I do agree with funding Ukraine. I guess I don't know.
I do too, but I'm
I-
turning on Zelensky.
I don't-
I'm
I don't
I'm starting
know-
to think
yeah.
we gotta, dude. He suspended elections, which I understand you're in the middle of a war, but like,
That's a good time to actually see where the voters stand. Maybe, are they behind
yeah.
you or
And
not?
when we did it, exactly, and when we did it in World War II, we just overwhelmingly kept the same guy in, even though half the country didn't agree with him. But they were like, "But we're not switching presidents during a war. It's
Sure.
not smart."
Yeah.
Right? So
Right.
like the American people were wise enough during World
And
War
that was-
II to just be like, nope, even if he's
That
not
was
the
a
right
big
guy,
chunk of
we're
why Bush
staying
got
the course.
reelected too. Bush
We're
too
staying the
got
course.
reelected.
Well, and that's why most presidents should get elected to a second term.
Right.
Is because 4 years really isn't enough. And you got to stay the course because What do they say? More wars are lost due to indecision than bad decision.
Oh.
Steve, look that quote up for me. Or Murph, sorry. He doesn't like
That's
being
okay.
called Steve. Murph, look that quote up for me while you're looking
Yeah.
up the other thing.
Soft shoe has something to do with tap shoes and then going to soft
Okay, we'll come back to that. Keep looking that up, but just
What's
I'll
the
put on
quote?
my
the
tap
quote is,
shoes
look this
and
quote up. I'm
tap
pretty sure this
dance
is a
with the
quote.
union.
More wars are lost due to indecision than bad decisions. And I think that's Julius Caesar or Alex the Great. Who knows? It might be fucking Kublai Khan. I don't
Yeah.
know who the fuck it is, but
Dave
it's like
Mustaine.
it's some truly great wisdom.
Sure.
Some truly great wisdom. Like, make a fucking decision and see it through to the end.
Maybe Sun Tzu,
reevaluate
Art of
and
War.
then figure out the smartest thing to do next time.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing you could do is never finish anybody's idea. And that's one of the things that pisses me off as a musician in a real band, in a real
Oh, sure.
democracy.
Yeah.
Like, some guy will have an idea, like the bass player, right? And he'll be like, let's try this. And then you like barely get into it. And somebody's like, nah, I don't like it. And it's like, well,
Right.
we haven't really finished it yet. Like,
Sure.
let's
Yeah.
actually try his
Yeah.
idea all
Let's-
the way to
let's
the
finish
end.
a song at least and like get all the way from
Let's
start
and
to
give it our
end.
best
Yeah.
effort so
Right,
we can
right.
actually see if this is, because there's so many times, dude, where like somebody gives me an idea and I'm like, that sounds like ass. And then they go do it and I'm like, oh my God, that was fucking brilliant.
really cool.
That's fire,
That's not
dude.
what I heard when you told me that
That's,
idea. Or
that's
whatever. Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
the right way to explain
Yeah.
it too. Like how I say it is, which is probably not as good as the way you just said it, but I say I couldn't see your vision.
Yeah, I
When you
wasn't
were
there with
describing
you,
it to me,
yeah.
I couldn't see the picture you were painting.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you for being a bad communicator. I blame me for not being creative enough or interpretive enough or
Right,
something.
right,
to where
right,
it's like
right.
I need to be more open-minded and I need to be able to walk down a rabbit hole with people. And it's funny because my mindset allows me to like at least steel man a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
So like I gotta steel man your creative ideas, and I gotta get better at that.
Right.
Where
right.
like I
stand
can
with you in that idea.
because in order to like knock down an idea, don't you first have to truly understand it and almost steel man it, like almost
Yeah.
argue for it
Right,
before
right.
you can, because you really have to truly understand what the
Sure.
person's saying.
Yeah.
I learned this from the Terrence Howard.
The Joe Rogan thing.
Terrence Howard, Eric Weinstein, the second one.
Oh, okay. I
because
didn't see that one.
instead of Eric just going after him and just being like, you're a fucking idiot, right? What he did is he goes, first I need to steel man you to make sure I understand what you're really saying.
Sure. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then I
It's
can
always
tell
a
you where
powerful
you're
debate
wrong.
tactic is to try to like clarify somebody's position before you.
Dude,
actually
it was
attack
really, because here's the thing, dude, is like I knew almost everything Terrence was saying was bullshit the first
Sure.
time around,
Yeah,
but I'm not
yeah.
a physicist, and I'm like, no, that's dumb. I'm like,
I think the
this-
patent thing was too far because it's like
well, patents don't mean anything.
right.
I knew that. I was like, and I kept saying that. I go, you gotta quit bringing up the patents, dude. Because the
Right.
patents mean nothing. The only thing a patent means is that if this is real, somebody can't steal it later.
Right,
And you
right,
only get
right.
like 10 years.
Right.
So like, stop, dude, stop. It was irritating
Right.
me,
And it's something that's so easy for everybody to look up and be like, okay, yeah, sure, but and like.
Well,
be
and it
able
was
to
really, it was
counter-
validating for me too, because
Sure.
it kind of like let me know, okay, I'm still not educated properly on any of these subjects properly,
Right,
but I
right,
am
right.
smart enough to understand them all conceptually, because I arrived at the same conclusion Eric Weinstein did, which was the only thing that's super legit about what he talked about is that fucking drone design with he calls it tangential flight, which is basically a bunch of different drone motors on different axes, so it can turn in any direction and fly in
sure.
any direction without having to do or obey classical
right,
physics.
Right.
And Eric was like the same thing. He goes, this seems like this is really fucking cool. And
Mhm.
if all your other shit's bullshit, but this is real, everything you've done is totally worth it. This is a life's work right
Sure.
here. And I was like, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I was like, out of all the dumb shit he said, I was like that. But that drone thing at
That
the
one
end, they
thing,
glossed
sure.
over.
Right,
I was like,
right.
but that drone thing is kind of cool, dude. And I was trying to talk to a couple buddies of mine about it, but they were like, yeah, but like the planets. And I'm like, no, dude, like, I don't think any of that's right, dude. But again, I didn't know enough to actually be able to like go on the record about it. So more
Right.
is lost by indecision than
And
wrong
you-
decision. That was Cicero. So
Cicero.
it was
Oh,
Rome.
okay. Yeah.
It was Rome.
And that can even be
One
like,
of his most famous quotes. Wow.
But I mean, we could absolutely argue
I mean, Cicero was
Against
a kind
that,
of a
too.
fucking ass clown. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't exactly a fucking. But that is true though.
I mean, sometimes. I mean, I feel like you could run it. I myself have run into things that I should have. Inaction would have been far better than actions I took. So, I think we could say that about. I'll say that
But
about
your
something in our
inaction
lives.
would be a decision.
Yes.
You got to
Yes.
stay on that mic too.
Sure.
You're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth. It's
Oh,
coming
okay.
in and out.
You
So,
got it.
but the inaction is a decision.
Right.
What that is specifically talking about, or at least my
Is
interpretation of it, is like,
waffling, right? Not even no.
I'm going to press the nuke button. No, don't press the nuke button. I'm going to press the nuke button. No, don't press the nuke button. I'm
Right,
going to press
right.
the nuke. No, don't press it. Okay, press it. Okay, call it back. Call it back.
Right,
Okay, no,
right,
don't call it
right.
back. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And it's like, dude, by the time you fucking made a decision,
Sure.
it's too fucking late, dude.
Right.
Like, we've already been invaded. Like, bad shit's
Sure.
already done. Like,
Yeah.
And I think, okay, Cicero said that, but I think where it got applied, like I said, like the wisdom of it, like
Sure.
I think where I heard it was it wasn't Alexander the Great, because Alexander the Great was before Rome. So it might have been like Napoleon, where it was definitely a great war mind, because there
Sure,
was a
sure.
follow-up to it, and it was basically like, he's like, no, I've made a lot of bad decisions in war, but you stick with them.
Sure.
And then what you do is, and it's about here's the same thing. You can lose the battle, but not the war.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, okay, you make the decision, you see it through to its end,
Mm-hmm.
you analyze it,
Yeah.
learn from it,
Yes.
and then redo it next time.
Right.
Right? So
right.
because
Right.
sometimes they say you learn more from failure than you do success as well. So making a bad decision oftentimes will lead you with a much better wealth of knowledge.
I think
on what to
you're
do in the
actually
future.
making the argument of why I will not vote for Trump in any sense of the word.
I don't
because
think it
the
matters as long
second
as you're not
term
indecisive
is-
about it.
I think the second term
If we're sticking with this analogy.
and I actually think the second term in American politics is seen as this like you can do whatever you want sort of term, and I think that's like the real problem.
But we
of-
should have then.
of the
but if we're-
two-term
okay, but if we're
limit.
going to be pure to the analogy, because
Sure.
right now we're not even arguing with each other, right?
Oh,
We're doing a
no.
thought experiment.
Oh yeah, we're just talking.
So we're taking this idea and we're so technically then, if we're being pure to the analogy, we should have
Sure.
left Trump in. And I actually made this
to
argument. I
sure.
actually made this argument back in the day because I never voted for Trump. I've never been a Trump supporter. I probably never will be. He would have to do something crazy like pick Tulsi Gabbard as his VP in order for me to vote for him, like, which isn't going to happen. We
Right.
all know it's not going to happen. But anyways, I actually made
She'd
the
be a
argument.
better pick than nearly everybody
I
I've
know, I
heard.
know.
I mean, for
But
whatever.
I actually made the argument in 2020. I was like, let him win. Like, I'd rather deal with 4 years of him, and then he's done. We just get to move on, right?
That's interesting.
What I don't
Yeah.
want to deal with is fucking Biden for 4 years and all the Trump people hanging out in the background going, oh, 2024, that's our year, that's our year.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
I saw this coming, right?
Sure.
And I'm good at predicting the future when it comes
Yeah.
to this kind of shit, because here we
Yeah,
are.
I predicted
right?
January 6th.
'Cause-
for
'cause
Will
here's the
Be
point.
Wild tweet.
He
yeah.
is so I didn't predict January 6th, but yeah, I did predict George Floyd. We'll get into that in a minute. But check this out. So what I do think is that if we were finishing out Trump's second term right now,
Right.
Biden, this turd sandwich, wouldn't be an
Sure.
option because
Yeah.
he's already too old. He would never win his first term now. And Trump wouldn't be an option. So the DNC and the GOP would have been forced to come up with genuine, new, good, high quality candidates, not regurgitating the same old
Oh.
fucking
This is
decrepit
interesting.
billionaires. Right? Because that's where we're going to be no matter
Interesting
what happens.
Alternate history, yeah.
No matter what happens, this is what will now happen in 2028.
Sure.
So like what I predict in 2028, the manifestation of this is both parties are going to have to go young.
Young, yeah.
And
I know.
And I'm going to say,
2028
I'm gonna
is
say
actually
something
gonna
that's
be
not racist, but it's going to sound racist because I think it's funny to say this word. They're going to have to go young and colored. so both parties are
yeah,
going to put.
yeah.
Here's what my prediction is:
Yeah.
in 2028, both parties will put up a colored candidate. I just think it's funny to say that, dude. So
No, I
I think
hear you.
Vivek will be the GOP.
I don't
candidate
know,
in
man.
2028.
That dude's so annoying.
And do you want to hear who I think
most
the
of the
DNC?
GOP finds him too annoying. He's
Do
too
you-
much.
Do you
He's
think?
too much.
I think he's the man. I think he's smart. I think he's savvy. I think he
I
fits
think
the
he's
GOP's
smart.
politics.
He's just really too much for a lot of people.
I think they're all too much, dude. So let's lower the fucking bar.
I mean,
so check this
he's
out.
like the most caffeinated person in the room at every moment, everywhere.
That's exactly who I want.
I know.
Running
Well,
the country, dude.
I'm a high caffeine person as well, but it's like
You're high caffeine, but still chill energy. dude.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
yeah.
need any caffeine, and I'm oftentimes the highest energy guy
Oh,
in the
sure.
room.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I should run for president, and I'm not even saying he should. What
Sure.
I'm just predicting,
Sure. Or somebody
what the choices-
akin to like
No,
the,
I'm naming people. I'm doing this now. I'm saying
well,
that in
I would agree
2028,
that somebody akin to him, like a pharma bro, Andrew Yang kind of candidate. I could see somebody like that being able to climb up the GOP
well,
ranks.
Vivek is not a farmer bro, and Andrew Yang is a borderline communist.
I actually meant to say crypto bro is what,
Crypto
and then
bro.
I got lost into,
Crypto bro,
and
okay.
then I got lost
Okay,
in Martin
but
Shkreli, and that was
let me
my
just
own
let me just drop
problem.
these two
Yes,
names.
excuse me.
So I think 2028 it's Vivek Ramaswamy is your GOP candidate for president.
Who else is running in that?
No. I'm
Tulsi?
saying that's who's going to win.
I think
That's who's going to win.
I think
And
is
then,
Tulsi
do
going
you
to
wanna
run
hear
for
who-
GOP though?
No, I'm just talking.
oh, no.
Here's who you're because she's never going to become a Republican unless somebody like a Trump picks her last minute to become VP.
Sure. Okay.
And then still, she probably will never become officially a Republican. She was too hardcore of a Democrat for too long. Her leaving the DNC was a big fucking deal. That the DNC is just like, whatever. And I'm like, you guys just lost most of your integrity in your party. But again, let me
Wow.
finish this. So here's what I'm saying. 2028, Vivek Ramaswamy is your GOP candidate. Do you want to know who I think's on the DNC candidate?
Yes.
Michelle Obama.
I mean,
I think they're gonna run her, dude.
I don't think so.
I think they're going to run her.
I don't think she cares, man.
I think
she
they're gonna
wants
run her,
do
dude.
it.
Why wouldn't she?
I don't think
She
she
could
cares, man.
She
I
could
don't
win.
think she cares. I don't
It's
think she
either that
cares
or
enough to do
Oprah.
it.
Oprah.
I mean, it is a fascinating.
Watch
thing
Oprah
that-
run for the DNC. It'll be Hillary. It'll be
Hillary versus Oprah.
It'll be.
The
I
primary.
said Hillary. It'll be Michelle Obama versus Oprah,
Oprah and Hillary. It's gonna be the mega force.
and no one will call her President Winfrey. It'll be Oprah.
Do we all get cars?
It'll be the first. It'll be the first president in. I almost said NFL history. That's funny. It'll be the first president in U.S. history that will be referred to by her first name because no one's going to call her President Winfrey. People are going to go Oprah.
I know it is
Today
funny, or
Oprah
just
said-
at least President Oprah. I mean, I feel like we're definitely in like Madonna territory with Oprah.
Yeah.
There's
for
no
sure.
last name anymore.
Because it was Oprah Winfrey for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then it was just Oprah. She became Madonna. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It'd be interesting to actually hear Oprah's politics. I don't know what it actually is. I mean,
Well, you just literally regurgitate anything Obama said.
yeah,
That's what her politics
yeah,
are.
That's too bad. I guess as
That's
a,
all Joe
as a
Biden is,
mega
too.
capitalist, I would expect something that's actually kind of right wing to come out of her.
So I will give you this though, dude. I heard that fucking Trump interview with Dr. Phil. Did you guys see that?
No. With
So,
Dr. Phil.
See if you can find a clip.
yeah, no, I did
See if you
some
can
of
find
that.
this clip, Murph. It's
I was
Dr.
pretty
Phil.
surprised.
Type in Dr. Phil Trump, and then type in for the last keywords. Type in offers forgiveness or something like Dr. Phil asks Trump to offer forgiveness or something. But in case you can't find it, I'm gonna set it up for you. So basically, Dr. Phil is like, so, you know, these people have wrongly gone after you, you know, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. Which, again, as somebody who doesn't support Trump, like, it seems like a bunch of bullshit, dude. Like, it seems like what they're doing is what they, again, projecting, to go back to where we started
Sure.
the conversation. It seems like the DNC, what they project to Trump, which is he's going to go after his political rivals. It seems to me like that's what they're actually doing right now. And they've been doing it. And with the Steele dossier of 53 signatures from different intelligence officers, both current and retired, that validated that the that the Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. That's formal conspiracy. That's
Sure.
literally saying, like, And that's why I think it's funny that it's like 51, 52, 53 people, something like that, because it's basically an actual deck of cards if you think about it. Like,
sure.
they're actually stacking the literal deck against him.
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll lie. And we'll produce formal documents with an undeniable amount of... Who in their right mind would look at a document that has 53 intelligence officers that all say it's Russian disinformation? Who in their right mind would look at that and go... It's bullshit. It's a lie. Right? Like, you'd go, dude, that's a lot of credible people. Like, I guess it's Russian disinformation.
Right.
But then again, the Twitter files come out, and it's like, nope, that was all real.
The
Hunter Biden laptop was real. Like, the information on it was real. The information on it was so real that they're using it in federal charges and federal investigations against not only him, but his father, Joe, right now. Like, the Ukraine fucking collusion, the Russian collusion, Chinese payoffs, dude. Like, it's getting dark, dude. And I don't know how current everybody is on this shit, but... Dude, it's getting
Let's
fucking
go, man. Let's
wild.
see it.
So,
let's see the charges. The only charges I've seen it for Hunter have been gun charges that the right didn't even agree with, which is hilarious.
But regardless, that information was allegedly never true, and the reason it was proven true is from the laptop is the point. And the rest of it is the investigation is ongoing, and there's already too many leaks, so it's probably never going to go proper.
Sure.
Right? But my point is like, everything they're accusing him of doing, they're doing. So again, it seems like they're going after their political rival. Because if all these charges were legit, why didn't they bring them up in 21, 22, 23? Why did they wait till the literal year of the election to bring all these charges? You know what I mean? Like, and again, I'm not a Trump supporter.
I mean, Trump also ran right away, so it would be seen. He knew this stuff was coming down the line too. He started running for president before anybody else had in history. I mean,
what do you mean?
Him announcing his candidacy was before anybody ever had. It was earlier in the cycle than anybody ever.
So again, if the charges are real and the guy can actually do jail time, which is what they keep saying. This is what the whole point is, that he's going to be behind bars, right? So if that
I don't know
true,
if anybody thinks that's actually
if that were
happen.
if that were true, why wouldn't you have charged him in 2021 or 2022 or even 2023? So all of this shit could be done, the charges could be filed, a conviction could be done, and he would be behind bars.
There's a lot of people mad at Merrick Garland, man. I don't know how much you listen to people on the left, but people were saying, what is going on? Why is this so delayed? What are you doing?
So here's what I think.
Sure.
Again, as somebody who doesn't even like the guy, but here's what it looks like to me as an unbiased observer.
Sure.
Oh, you guys waited because the charges aren't real. So what you're going to do is you're going to wait till the very last minute and just use it to try to tarnish this man. And you can hear it by the fucking rhetoric. Oh, fucking 31 felonies. He's a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon. He's a convicted That's all you fucking hear. I've actually heard people say, I would rather vote
because of his own separate payments thing. If it had been one, it would have been one.
Fair enough.
He did that to
Fair
himself.
enough.
You can't
Fair
be
enough.
I've sold 30 bags around town. How am I getting hit with 30 charges?
But it's still
that's separate thing.
But here's the thing. But again, the Democrats have publicly campaigned against stacking charges. So they've done this. They go, young black men are being convicted 4 times because they sold drugs 4 times in one night.
Sure.
Even though that's one. They sold drugs.
I've never heard that argument.
It's a total thing. It's a total fucking thing. It's called stacking charges, and they typically only do that against black men on a drug or a violence charge, where it's like where it happens is the 3-strike rule. So it's supposed to be 3 separate crimes. That's 3 strikes, right? But what they'll do is they say, well, you committed 3 strikes at once.
Oh.
Boom, 3 strikes, you're going to jail for 20 years. That's called stacking charges. And that's exactly what they did to Trump. So this is what I'm talking about, is the hypocrisy. So it's okay to do this when it's your political rival. It's not okay to do it when it's a young black guy.
I think
it's either okay to do it or it's not okay to do it.
The wheels of justice are really slow when it comes to
But
that sort of crime, though.
But before we get,
it's just a very different sort of crime versus like oh, we have you selling a bag an hour ago versus like, oh, we actually got access to these records via your former lawyer, et cetera, et cetera.
But just let me finish this rant, right? So to answer your question is like, all I hear is already the rhetoric of, he's a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon. And I've actually heard somebody say this. This is what I was going to say earlier is, I would vote for a dead guy before I vote for a convicted felon. I've actually heard that.
Sure,
I've actually heard people say that out loud.
I've seen some of that.
Not just online, not just in writing. I've actually heard people say that out fucking loud.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but here's the deal. Whether this is a felony now, okay?
Sure.
Because, and I say that because it wasn't a felony when it happened, which bothers me a lot, right? So if you get convicted for selling weed, and then the state legalizes weed,
right?
We let you out of jail, right? Okay.
In theory, yes.
But guess what happened when Kamala Harris was in charge in California? And they said, well, why are you holding all these black people on weed charges?
Because
even though
illegal then? Yeah.
She laughed. And she goes, no one's missing them. You can actually find this quote, Kamala Harris laughing about black people or something like that. It's basically, she laughed about keeping black people in jail beyond their sentences, right? So it's not surprising to me that this administration then turns around and then convicts Trump or charges Trump for a crime that wasn't a crime when he did it. And Bill Clinton also paid a woman hush money, and she did a fucking press conference where she joked about it and held up her check and goes, this is my hush money check. I can't tell you why I got it, but I can tell you I got it. Bill Clinton, see, here's the signature. And they did a whole fucking press conference. She wasn't even like classy about it. It was kind of trashy. Like,
was that Jennifer Flowers?
I don't know.
Or...
Murph, look that one up too. Start queuing all this shit up.
Okay, what?
Bill Clinton, hush money check, woman press conference. See if you can find
Tripp?
these. Might have been Linda Tripp. That name
She
sounds
was a
familiar.
weird-
I was too
she was a
young,
weird one.
but I've seen
Yeah.
this clip since then.
You
Yeah.
got the Trump,
Okay, so play this.
Dr. Phil. Which one you want? There's a CNN, and there's I don't know what this is. Fill in the blanks.
The short is going to be the better one. Yeah, fill in the blank. That one. Yep. Okay, that's super fucked up. That is not
perfect.
what he said.
Oh.
That is not what he fucking said. Okay, get rid of this.
Oh.
Okay, get rid of this.
I was like, oh, that seems exactly like what you're talking about.
That is not what he said. Basically, and if that is what happened, that's at the end of the interview when Dr. Phil basically forced him into that corner. Because what he actually said was Dr. Phil basically begging him to go, okay, listen, your guys have come after you. These people have come after you unjustly. That's how we got onto the 31 charges, blah, 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 right? It's obviously a fucking a kangaroo court. This is obvious bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But if you win, you have the chance to be the bigger guy, to really be an inspiration for people and forgive your enemies. And he said something to the degree of like, revenge is really enjoyable or something like that. And it was like, you motherfucker, you son of a bitch.
That's what
It was
really
so
bothers.
cringe.
What bothers
See
me
if you can find that,
most
Steve.
about Trump
Revenge
politically.
I don't know. You'll find it. Dr. Phil,
politically, is he
Donald
doesn't-
Trump, revenge is enjoyable or something. I don't know. Say what you're going to say.
No, just Trump's never taken like the easy political things that he's been handed. Honestly, and I think we might have talked about this last time. I'm not sure, but he easily could have come out after George Floyd was murdered, legally murdered. He could have said, this looks really bad. we need to take a closer look at what policing even is and what we're trying to do. Are we trying to just put people in jail forever? This actually ties into what you were talking about, never voting for a convicted felon. What is rehabilitation? What are we sending people to prison for? Is it to rehabilitate them? Because if so, we need to have things that actually encourage that once they're back on the outside. In we can talk about what that is and what that means, but I think it would have been a pretty easy layup to say, like, we gotta, think about what policing is for, and is it for a person having a drug episode to, like, keep them on the ground until they pass out or something? He could have taken some really easy things. He could have not done the church photo op, which is really silly.
That was really bad.
I mean,
tell people what you're talking about, because a lot of people don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
So yeah, he cleared out protesters that were outside of the White House during the George Floyd.
Didn't just clear them out. Hit him with a fucking tear gas cannon.
Went full on. I mean,
and then walked in
what
front
most
of the church.
Cops are doing nationwide at that point, but went full on. Yeah. Walked
he
in front
cleared
of the
him out
church,
and then walked in front, held up a Bible.
And said, "This has got to stop," or something really menial that would have been a really easy moment. You're really handed this really tumultuous thing that you have so many people in your bag, Trump in his GOP voter bag, that he actually could have been
do you want a cigar, by the way?
Oh, no, thank you. But he could have easily been like, we got to think bigger about what we're even doing to, our fellow country, our fellow citizens, and we got to get them out of drugs, and we got to, there's a bunch of things that George Floyd's murder encapsulated that I think he really could have, brought a ton of people onto his side at that moment, left and right, and actually got them to think deeper about racial politics, policing, drug use, poverty. I mean, he could have really taken this as a moment, a fireside chat sort of moment, and been like, hold up, America, we got to really talk about where we're at right now, because we're really divided, and maybe I've played a part. I don't like to think so.
Oh, there it is.
But
Revenge can be justified. Did you find it?
Yep. Any of these sorts of
10
things.
minutes, though. Can you find it in that video?
Yeah, that's a Young Turks. It's going to have analysis in there.
Yeah, but if you turn on subtitles, you might be able to fucking watch it on double speed in the background and find it without us having to worry about it.
Oh, here's Kamala. You should watch this video.
Okay, here's the Kamala one.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you unmute it. Yeah, there you go.
I'm unmuting it so you can hear.
Yeah.
I got it in picture-in-picture.
Fuck this bitch. Dude, I hate this woman so much.
This is one about her sending parents to jail for their kids.
Yeah,
Not
separate
getting
issue, but
education.
equally
Yeah.
disgusting. Fuck this bitch, dude.
Same basic thing, though. Wrongly jailing people.
Yeah, so see if you can find keeping people past their sentences, specifically
found that.
black men.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris keeping black men beyond their sentences. And if you can find it, there's a video where she laughs about it. And like, dude, this woman is completely unhinged. Like, she doesn't exactly do a good job of like encouraging men to continually vote for women into positions of power. Like, she makes women look bad.
Oh, she's a weirdo, man.
Like, she's dude. And
she is a weird public speaker.
It disturbs me when I hear people say phrases like, I'm not voting for Joe Biden, I'm voting for his cabinet. Yeah, but that's literally not how democracy works, because you don't know who those people are.
I mean, that's how the presidency works.
It doesn't really, though. It really doesn't, though. No, because it really doesn't, though. Because, again, if I don't like you, I can hold you accountable and vote you out. But when I vote party, and I vote basically what you're saying, cabinet or deep state.
Deep state. I'm talking about the people that are around every president. It doesn't matter
that
if
is
it's
the
Trump
deep state,
or
but that
whatever.
is the deep state.
I mean, those are
anybody who's not an elected official.
Are...
Exactly, dude. And that's my fucking point. So when you guys say, "Oh no, I'm voting for," who the fuck are you talking about? Because when things are really bad, and you go, "Well, we need a different Democrat, or we need a different Republican."
This is the duopoly,
like, dude,
man. This is working
changes.
within the duopoly. I've voted third party numerous times. You're barking up the wrong tree here, man.
No, but it's not about.
I've seen third party runs get nothing.
Me too.
And no matter
pretty much everybody I vote for.
No matter what you do about that, it's a matter of talking to the greater public. And we have the opportunity with the internet. I don't know how you actually get it across the Electoral College, which I've talked to you about that many times.
Yeah, you can't do away with it. It's a necessary evil.
Right. But it's what stops your third-party candidates from being anything. Because they can't actually get electoral votes. If you can get electoral votes like Perot did.
But I've also changed my tune on whether a third party is even a good idea.
Sure.
Right? So I
mean, this is all of that, like, what happens if the bad guy gets in stuff is because we have two parties and there is only a good guy and a bad guy, a good person and a bad person in a red team, blue team scenario.
Well, you know about the Cuban Missile Crisis, right?
Yes.
The only thing that stopped that from actually happening was the fucking president.
Sure.
That matters.
Yeah.
That matters.
No,
right?
I agree. No.
The only reason we invade Iraq.
This is why I want Joe Biden to step down so we can actually have a president.
The only reason we went into Iraq was because of George Bush.
Wow.
If George Bush...
Just George Bush.
Yes, because George Bush, if he doesn't have a fucking full-on erection for Saddam Hussein...
Sure.
Before 9/11 even happens...
Yeah. I mean, that's Dick Cheney, too. But this is...
I think Dick Cheney just took advantage of his erection.
Oh.
He just gave him... All he did was gave him the condom to fuck the whore he already was about to bang.
Like PNAC, Project for a New American Century.
Dick Cheney is an opportunist.
They knew that an attack akin to Pearl Harbor could.
Bro, I'm not defending Dick Cheney. I'm just saying let's be unbiased and let's evaluate.
I'm saying
what he was an opportunist.
Gears were churning. Yeah.
All he did was sold him the condom to fuck the whore. That's all he did.
Sure.
He goes, "Oh yeah, you're gonna fuck that whore, huh? Oh, well, I'll tell you what. Use this condom. It's the best condom.
Yeah,
it's $100 billion."
Yeah.
And George Bush was like, "Is a good condom?" And he said, "It's a great condom." And he goes, "I'm gonna fuck that whore. Get out of my way." And he went and fucked that whore. Like, that's what I'm saying. Nobody needed to do anything. George Bush, dude, I swear to God, South Korea could have done. South Korea could have died 9/11.
Sure.
South Korea could have done 9/11, and George Bush would have found a way to go to Iraq. Dude. That's what I'm trying to explain. So these guys do have direct power, right?
Sure.
Like, they absolutely do have direct power.
No, Commander-in-Chief is one of the...
But this is my problem with people who say, I'm voting for the cabinet, I'm voting for the party. That's my problem.
I want to see that cabinet,
you can't hold the cabinet accountable. You can't vote out a cabinet member.
Right.
That's not how it works, dude. And it's super fucked up when people say that, because it's like, it's the laziest, most passive bitch-ass way to be like, I don't have the balls to defend this guy or that guy. I don't
Sure.
have the balls
I
to
mean,
stand here and
that's-
be like, I'm voting for Biden because I think he's a good president. Or I don't have the balls to stand here in public and be like, I'm voting
Sure.
for Trump because I think he's good. And here's why. Those
Sure.
guys that do that, I'm voting for the fucking
Sure.
the I'm voting party or I'm voting for the cabinet.
Sure.
Those two lines, like the girls say nowadays, it gives me the ick. Like when but on a respect level, like when it comes to talking
Oh,
about
sure.
other adults, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, fuck you, dude. I don't say
Sure.
that, but
Yeah.
that's what happens in my head. Immediately, I'm like, I can't
Sure.
take anything you say seriously because you don't have the fucking balls. Because, like, I'll tell you, I'm voting for whoever picks Tulsi
sure.
Gabbard as vice president, which
Sure.
apparently fucking Kennedy chose this fucking Asian
Yeah.
chick, Shanahan or something
Yeah.
like that.
A
Some
very
Asian
rich
chick with an
person.
Irish
Yes.
last name.
Very rich person.
Yeah, exactly. She seems cool, but like, I don't know. I want
That was the most
somebody to pick
unserious
Trump.
pick he could have made.
Or, I mean, I
man.
want somebody
Like,
to pick Tulsi.
Honestly, if he
Even
had
if it's
picked
Trump.
like any formidable political person, not Aaron Rodgers, that was also insane. I can't even
That's
believe
stupid.
that leaked out. That was one of the dumbest things ever.
Did you hear when The Rock claimed when he was on Rogan? He was like, one
he call
of
us?
the two
Did he call?
parties. One of the two parties did approach me and asked me if I would run for president, and I politely declined. And that's when I was like, this guy's full of shit. Nobody would ask The Rock to run for president with zero actual qualifications.
Yeah.
Like
Or
and
interest
here's
from
why.
him.
And here's why.
know.
Here's why. Because I already know people in the comments are like, dude, what are you talking about? The Republicans did that with Donald Trump. And it's like, first of all, no, they
No,
didn't.
they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They didn't want him.
He showed up and fucking nuked the party. He was also, if you, through the Julian Assange leaks, it was proof that Hillary propped him up as a candidate
Oh, yeah.
because
The Pied Piper. I remember.
Yeah, exactly. So nobody
No,
thought
man,
he
this
could
is
win.
this is
So
where
my point is
I can
like,
come back to the DNC being
nobody approached
trashed
The
in a
Rock.
million ways.
My point is this: nobody
I
approached
don't
The Rock.
need to-
Nobody approached The Rock to run for president, and I know they didn't because the DNC wouldn't do it because that's literally what they ridiculed the GOP for doing. He's a celebrity with no political
Right.
experience,
Yeah.
right? And that was the point.
Right.
So let's go in reverse, and I'll finish this rant as fast as possible. The point is people voted for Trump, an outsider with no political experience, because they were sick of the same
Yeah.
shit going back to
100%.
1980. I've said this before. I'll say it
Yep.
again.
And Hillary
We've-
Clinton. I
we've
mean,
had
it was a perfect
That's my
storm
point.
of yeah.
We've had
No,
we've had
I'm
a
with
Bush,
you.
we've had a Bush or a Clinton in the actual White House since 1980. People go, "What? You don't know what you're talking?" No. George Bush was Reagan's vice president from 80 to 88. Then he became president from 88 to 92. Then we had Clinton from 92 to 2000. Then Bush's son, Bush 2, he was in office
8 years.
from 2000 to 2008. And then when people were fucking fed up of the Bushes and the Clintons, so, because it wasn't just an anti-Clinton thing. It was, dude, Alex Jones hated the Bushes, right? Because we had an oligarchy forming. We had an aristocracy forming.
Yeah.
These two families running our fucking country. So, because why I bring up Clinton is because she was running in 2008. So the country was like, we don't want the Bushes and we don't want any more Clintons. We want somebody new because this isn't working for anybody anymore. So we're going to go with an outsider that nobody's ever heard of. And his name's Barack Obama, a junior senator who has little to no experience. And that's the fucking point. We don't want a lifelong career politician who comes from a fucking family. And when Obama got in office, we already went over the fact that he did all the Bush stuff, but he literally made fucking Hillary Clinton Secretary of State.
Yep.
So when I say we've had a Bush or a Clinton in the fucking White House since 1980 to 2016, that is not an exaggeration. So people were so mad that they actually voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And then that's why that group of people became a religion. And it
sure.
right now, their God Emperor is Trump. But you guys got to understand, you created Trump. And I'm not talking to Paul right now. I'm talking
It was I.
I'm talking to
1980. Here.
I'm talking to anybody
Yeah.
who blindly supports a political party or a political
Sure.
family or a name because you've pissed off so many Americans that you created a new political party that is willing to say, fuck anybody who's part of the establishment now.
Right.
And it's not just on the right. It's not just MAGA Republicans. It's also Antifa. It's also this entire extremist left wing that fucking incite riots at protests, right? That's all created because the status quo since 1980 hasn't been working for the vast majority of it.
Yeah.
So again, this is why I don't say I went back to the Republicans.
Sure.
Now I'm politically homeless, so I ditched the Republicans.
Oh, I've been there.
To go back to the beginning where we started this conversation, I ditched the Republicans 25 fucking years ago now, 24, 23 years ago, whatever. And now I'm also going and fuck the DNC too, and fuck the DFL, dude, because they're both a bunch of corrupt, corporate bot politicians.
Yeah,
and it's just which corporations they sold their soul
man.
to.
Yeah.
What is this?
I got 2 short videos on Kamala. I think you'll like the second one better.
Oh, that's a long one.
Oh, this is when she nuked her. Pause this real quick.
Yeah,
this is when she nuked.
Remember this? Yeah.
This is when she nuked Tulsi Gabbard in one debate. Oh God, this is when I fell in love with this woman politically. But like, she doesn't even have the fucking full white streak. She dyed it. She dyed it to try to run for president. She's got a white streak in the front of her hair. But she completely nuked Kamala Harris and her entire presidential campaign with this one 3-minute clip. Hit play. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kamala's expression is priceless.
See, this is the kind of thing Trump could have said during the Floyd thing. I'm just saying. This is.
But let this one play. These are all facts.
Yeah.
We don't need to hear that cunt's response. That woman lost the presidential race in seconds.
Yeah.
In not even, so it was 90 seconds. Okay, now here's the next one.
Check this out.
See, okay, press pause. Okay, this is pandering. This is what I'm trying to say. This is pandering. So, her actual thoughts and beliefs that she put into action are marijuana users are a dredge on society. Let's keep them in jail for blah, blah, blah. That was covered in the first clip. Now, this is her saying, and I did inhale, because now she wants to appeal to black folk. Right? This is a key when you talk about things. When you hear people say black people, that's usually not, whatever they're about to say is usually not cool. Like seriously, I'm giving everybody a clue here. When you hear somebody be like, the problem with black people is, you're like, oh God, I roll my eyes and my stomach drops. I'm like, here we go with some passive racist bullshit, right? Passive racist bullshit. But when you hear somebody be like, look, here's the deal with black folk, that's somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about because they live in or grew up around black people or black folk, however you want to, in that. I don't know how to end that sentence. Black people would be the better ending because it's more, because anyways, the point is right now what she's trying to do is pander to black folk.
This is the same
She's
place
trying to pander
Hillary
to black
said
folk,
I've
though.
got
That's what she's doing.
hot sauce in my
Yeah,
bag.
on the same show.
Yep.
And what did Hillary go? Did it work?
Yeah.
Like she's such a fucking robot, dude.
Yeah, Charlemagne's
such
got great takes, to be honest. But
he's also kind of an idiot at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, but me too.
But
Me
it's in
too.
every.
I'm
but
also a
he's-
fucking moron who sometimes has some great takes. Dude.
He's a really good everyman.
I'm not trying to sit here and act like I'm smarter and better than everybody, although most people are fucking idiots. So it's not hard to be smarter than most people.
I
I do
most
talk a lot of
this-
shit, though. I
No,
want to be clear about that.
I have more
talk a lot of
concerns. I have more concerns about a second Trump presidency because I think he knows how the wheels work now. And
I
he's-
think, again,
he's
you
got
gotta-
a
you guys gotta
Supreme-
fucking rip
he's
the
got a
Band-Aid off and
Supreme
let him
Court
win.
majority, and I think he's gonna get 2 more because Alito and Thomas are ready to flee the chicken coop the second a Republican gets in there. I don't know what you've all been following of the Alito thing,
so here's
but
what
it's wild.
I gotta
man.
piss, so we're gonna play a song here in a second, just so we can take a break. But here's what I want to say, man, because I said this in 2020. I'm gonna say it again now,
Sure.
dude.
Okay.
If you guys are really the superior party, if you're really truly the moral high ground,
Sure.
you need to let them fucking win and let them fucking learn from their mistakes, so they're forced to change and become better, because he only has 1 more term left. I believe if you're really looking 3D chess, the worst thing you could do is beat Trump in this election, because you will spawn an absolute army on the smallest levels of government
Sure.
of secret Trump supporters. You're basically creating the demon you guys hate. Let him fucking win again. Let him prove everybody wrong. Let him fizzle out his flame, not fix anything, and then he can't
It's
run
kind of
again,
already
and
happening.
it goes away.
Honestly, his
gonna win.
campaigning.
He's gonna win.
His campaigning has been ridiculous,
honestly,
dude. I don't know how much you've seen of his rallies,
I
but
was-
he has been.
I was so
ridiculous.
shocked that he didn't win in 2020. I 5% believe it was rigged and they stole the election.
I think people
How did-
overestimate how much they voted for an outsider in 2016, and then he just became the swamp. I think you're underestimating that.
So you're going to
part,
tell me
too.
with a straight face that Joe
I'm not-
Biden
no,
got more
he's
votes
not-
than Barack Obama?
Yes, because there's just more people.
Just the hatred? You
Yeah,
think
and
just the
there's
hatred
just
of
more
Trump?
people. Yeah, that too. I don't
So
think
you're going to stand there
I don't
with a
think
straight face,
people care.
owning a fireworks stand, and tell me Joe Biden got more votes than Barack
there's
Obama?
more votes. There's more votes every time.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
But no, and we have
Owning a fireworks stand.
and we have social media.
Do you
like,
guys both get
really
that
making
reference, by the way?
people? No.
Does everybody get that reference?
what is that?
Oh, yeah.
It's Joe Dirt, dude.
It's Joe
It's one of the
Dirt. I
greatest
haven't seen that in a
monologues
really
of
long
all
time.
time,
Yeah.
dude.
I
So
haven't seen
you're
it in a
gonna
long
stand
time.
there with a straight face, owning a fireworks stand, and then he goes on the greatest firework monologue of all time. Husker do's, Husker don'ts. You should pull that monologue up for later, dude. Pull the Joe Dirt firework monologue up. Okay, finish playing this. But this is pandering in its purest form. So now she's laughing about smoking pot, and I did inhale. She talks like a white woman. Keep this in mind.
Oh, yeah.
This matters to black folk. Tupac. When she talks to white people, she would say Tupac.
Tupac.
She'd be like Tupac, but when it's black folks, she goes Tupac.
I mean, it's yeah. Pandering is nothing new. I mean, you can look up.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Pandering.
Yeah.
So this is pandering.
Did
So,
you see Trump
dude,
at the
this
black,
is why I lose
the
my mind,
black
dude. So,
conservative conference?
so when I was 12 years old, I learned about pandering. Press pause on this, Steve. Steve, kill this.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh, the best was Obama, where he goes, she goes,
Jomo gang.
he goes, yeah, I smoke weed. Yeah, and I inhaled. Who cares? And then they go, did you do anything else? And he goes, I did a little blow. That's when I decided to vote for him. I was
Yeah.
like, that's the realest shit I ever heard in my life.
Obama's
He goes,
a real
he
one when it
literally
came
went-
down
he
to
literally, I
that
don't think you'll
stuff.
ever find this clip, because I'm pretty sure once he won, they scrubbed it, because they were like, we cannot have this on fucking Ever Living. I don't think you'll ever find this clip, but I remember it because I watched it, because it was the moment I decided to vote for Obama. He goes, yeah, I smoke weed. Come on, who cares? And then they go, have you ever done anything else? And he goes, I did a little blow. like he already knew, that guy knew that he knew he knew
Yeah.
did blow. You know what I mean? So it was like, I did a little blow. I swear to God, everybody laughed and they just moved on. It was almost like when they asked Trump, he goes, "You called women disgusting fat pigs," and he goes, "No, that was just Rosie O'Donnell." And then they go, "It was other women too," and he goes, "Maybe." And then everybody laughed so hard they just moved on. There's been a few times where these guys have been so good at speaking. Where
He said he never said lock her up. Did you see that video?
he never said lock her up.
Dude, yeah, he did.
No, what he said was again. I remember
over and over again.
What
dude.
I remember was
They should lock her up.
Nope.
Yes, he absolutely said that.
I will
You've
quote
seen
him.
that
I will
video.
quote him. I will quote him. Paul, you're not acting in good faith right now.
Dude, I've seen those videos recently.
No, what you saw was him saying, she said, "Oh, Mama, what would you do?" And he goes, "Oh, that's because you'd be in jail." And then he not literally,
not the debate.
He almost
I'm talking
dropped
about
the mic.
rallies, dude.
No, dude, everybody else said lock her
No,
up.
and he says yes, they should lock her up. Yeah, dude, he said lock her up.
I don't think he ever did.
He did. He absolutely did. He did. You can find it on Trump fan pages. That's part of why
Find
they
me a
loved
video
him.
of Trump. Find me a video of Trump saying lock her up. Not crowds saying lock her up. Find me one. I don't think he ever actually said it.
He did. He absolutely did.
I know he lies a lot, but I don't actually.
It would have been a hilarious thing.
I also
if he
don't
never
remember
had.
him ever actually saying "drain the swamp." These are campaign slogans, but I don't remember him ever
He did
saying
say
these
it.
things.
I mean, yes, he absolutely did.
Dude, we're in a very anti-Trump media circuit too. So it's like, do you know about this, by the way, since you're in media? So not only do newspapers print the exact same article with different headlines to different areas, there's the difference between the affiliates. So if you are in Texas, their news was so pro-Trump down there
Sure.
that they never heard Trump talk about they should shoot those protesters in the streets like dogs, like
Right.
I did.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
But our media up here in Minnesota that's so anti-Trump also spins and edits everything to where like there's entire speeches that if you're in a different part of the country, you heard a different edited version of that speech.
And this is all like
It's so shady,
this
dude.
is
It
all
bothers me
duopoly
so
stuff.
much.
No, it does me too. But like, if you have 3, 4, 5 parties,
Explain to people, because even I'm a little confused. What do you mean by dual?
oh, duopoly,
Duopoly.
just the 2-party system. It's the easy way to put it. But it ties
I
into
thought it was
like there
like-
being a monopoly
I thought it was the
it's-
idea that not only is it a 2-person monopoly, but I also thought it was that if you analyze it, it's 2 sides of the same coin, which is what makes it a monopoly. So it's a duopoly because
sure.
it's
I mean,
literally.
sure.
Maybe I'm overanalyzing, but that's what I always thought.
I mean, the duopoly is just essentially a lock on a 2-party system. That there is no room for a third party to actually succeed ever. I mean, Ross Perot
Okay,
is the closest.
is it okay? So this is. I assume you found a video where it says he claims he never said this, and then they're going to prove him
this
wrong.
is the recently one.
Okay, play this, because I will eat my words on camera. I have no problem admitting I'm wrong. I just want to be. I don't care about being right.
no.
I want to be true.
Yeah, me
Does that
too,
make
man.
sense?
To me too.
God dang it.
Okay.
Hold on.
Nope. That was exactly it.
But rewind that. When he did say that, he was saying somebody else. No, go back. Go back.
Right before this.
Because he didn't even say lock her up. He's quotes a third party here.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. There he goes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
I mean, that's exactly the phrase.
That's the one I thought. Okay. Lock them up. That's okay. Yeah, okay. Cool.
He
cool.
loved it.
Cool. So, because I thought, the first two is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The first two was like, yeah, he's talking about, she should be in jail. But, like, if he's being smart, he's saying, I never said the words lock her up. But you were right. No, he did say it multiple times.
And to just be like, it'd be one thing of like,
no, you got
I don't know. I feel like I was thinking she should be put on trial.
We don't even need to watch the whole thing. We only needed a few seconds. I love it. No, and that's my point is, like, he's full of shit, dude.
Yeah.
And Trump has always been full of shit, which is honestly why I will take him. Because everybody knows he's full of shit.
Right.
And the only people who think he's telling the truth are the people that will blindly follow any Republican leader, right?
Yeah.
And I can handle that. What I can't handle is the exact same thing on the other side, which is people looking at me with a straight face and saying that guy's competent enough to be president right now. And people go, I think he's a great president. I'm like, are you fucking serious right now?
Like, I think I was clear. I liked the things he signed, but he didn't write those bills.
That's exactly my point. So you at first you did say you thought he was a great president, but when I asked you what you really meant,
I didn't say I think he was a great president. I think a lot of good things have happened during his presidency.
You
that
literally
I
said
think
yes
are
when
good.
I asked that question, but
we've
walked it back.
Yeah.
This was before the podcast started, but we've walked it back now because what you're really just saying is
successful presidency is what I will say exactly,
and that is a difference.
Sure,
that is a difference.
Sure, and if a party wants things done that positively impact the bills they want passed, that is a successful presidency. A lot of Trump people would say the same thing about his presidency, that it was a successful presidency, whether they liked him or not, but they might have liked tax cuts or whatever it might happen to be. But it's hard to not say it's the
this is still the live thing. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
But they're done, right?
I gotta piss. Do we have a song queued up? I think we do.
Let's do the press conference part second. Sounds good. We've had a good lead up here. Show that we kind of know what we're talking about, which is good.
Well, and a lot of people basically think I'm a Republican now, which I'm still not.
No.
I was going to vote for Kennedy until two things happened. I can't support full-term abortions. I can't. Unless it's under an extreme medical scenario, but it needs to be said that way.
Right.
Like what Kennedy flat out said is yes, any reason up to 9 months, which is what my buddy Kevin said too. And I'm like, dude, fuck
That's
you
a
guys,
lot.
man. Fuck you guys, dude.
Man. We
like,
gotta talk.
no. It has to be under a listed or reasonable medical exception. So like, even if it's not listed, but it like any doctor with common sense would be like, no, dude, that
she's
fits.
about to die.
It's
or
not
this
on that
baby's
list.
about to die, or
like,
whatever. Yeah.
Like you would need, and it should be simple. Like the abortion happens, right? And then before any criminal charges would ever be brought, you would just do a quick little review with like 8 doctors, and they should all easily be like, it may not be on that list, but it should be.
Right.
So let's add it.
Right.
Because this shouldn't be, we shouldn't waste our time on this
Supreme
review.
Court of
this
doctors.
was, yeah, exactly. But like, this was super obvious that this,
Sure.
right? And you list the reasons.
We should have that. This
We
actually
should.
sounds like a thing that should exist.
That's what I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah, no.
Because like, the only thing I will side with the Republicans on, and I've said this 100 times on this podcast, in regards to abortion, is they have the balls to define when it turns from a fetus to a human being. I don't agree with when they all pick it.
You're right.
But the fact that they're willing to do it gives them credibility where the DNC doesn't have the fucking balls to do it.
Yeah,
again,
they're afraid to say any specific time.
Pandering and virtue signaling. And when you talk to any citizen, including most women, and you go, okay, here's the chart, and you show them all the pictures, pick a time. Almost all of them pick a time earlier than
when it's
most
like
of those
fingers
states.
Or,
most of those states, though,
Sure.
I think 1 or 2 of those states have like super irrational ones. But like most of the states, when you let any of these girls that are protesting it, they go, well, yeah, I mean, okay, like here's the line. And then they go, so anything before this we shouldn't do. And then they go, well, the state's law is actually way back here. And they go, oh, wait, so like I'm stricter than the state?
Right,
and then these girls are just like, oh, fuck.
Right. But
it's like they're
also-
protesting something they're already in favor of. That's my
Right,
other
right.
big problem.
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
so many people, especially young people who are the protesters. All the protesters are young.
But sometimes you're looking at a zoomed in picture of something that is like this microscopic thing
No, I
too,
agree. I
which
agree,
is a
man.
whole other, it's like,
I agree.
if I blew it up on the wall here, be like, it's like
Here's
that.
my thing, dude.
It's like,
I'm super
well,
willing.
okay.
I'm super willing to define it as somebody
Yeah.
who's pro-choice. I'm super willing to define it. Here's what it is: 4.5 months
Sure.
for any reason.
Yeah.
That's you. And you're 4.5 months. I
Yeah.
know that's people are like Jared's a horrible person.
Yeah.
Here's the thing:
Halfway,
It's
man.
halfway.
Yeah,
that's
I'm with you.
that's up to you.
That's a human
only.
thing.
After
Here.
4.5
Yeah.
months, it has to be for an insane medical exception, right?
with it.
So like after 4.5 months, even rape and incest, no,
Yeah.
you had your time.
Here's
That was
your-
within
yeah,
the 4.5
yeah,
months.
yeah,
Like you had 4.5 months to realize you were a
I'm
rape or
with you,
incest,
bro.
right?
I'm with you.
After 4.5 months, it's got to be.
This is you.
It's got to be
After
that
4.5 months, that's the baby.
It's got to
you
be.
know?
It's
Yeah.
got to be that baby's like gonna have like horrible disfigurement, something
Sure.
we didn't detect early.
Yeah.
It's got to be
This is a
life
is a
risk to the
pretty,
mother.
Pretty good take. I like it.
I think it's reasonable is
Yeah.
my point, and
Yeah.
I'm pro-choice, but I still agree. Like with the Republicans,
Yeah, no,
we
there's
should
there's
put
a line.
we should put a
somewhere.
line.
Yeah, I get
We
it.
need to define the line.
I get it.
If the Democrats
I
would
think
put a
it's
fucking
it's really
put their balls
stupid
on the line.
it's really stupid for Trump to say
Do we
like,
got some music queued up?
they're doing it for
Give me one of the Montoya
after
songs.
the
Give me the
baby's
void.
born.
Give me the
After
void on one of these
baby-
keys here.
After the baby's born, we're killing it. It's like, okay, man.
It's in that
simmer
JRE
down.
Yeah.
or JSE. JRE. I got to change the name of my fucking podcast. I do that a lot. I say JRE because Joe
'Cause you're
Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
I got to get off the fucking extravaganza thing, dude. It's actually bothering me a lot now. It didn't bother me ever, except for the last 3 months since we've been back.
Put an apostrophe and just call it the Ganza.
Nah, I think we're just gonna change it to Jared Singer Live. We're just gonna it's the Jared Singer Live podcast because all my online handles are. Jared
JSL
Singer
sounds
Live.
kind of cool. I like.
Well, that's an amp.
Oh.
That's why I didn't go with that. That's why I can't abbreviate to JSL. It's a Joe Satriani amp.
Ah.
Dude,
Satch
and
does
that's the
it
thing is,
again.
like I know, dude. I'm fucked. So, do you know what folder I'm talking about, Steve?
Rando.
No, it's not in Rando. It would be in My Projects, and then it would be in Montoya.
Debbie Dingle.
Yep. Okay, the void. Got it.
You'll learn my logic, and the reason you need to know this
They're
is because
done.
the way you guys as IT guys organize files is antithetical to the way musicians, producers, and engineers organize files. I need to be able to find my fucking songs, and you sons of bitches, the way you do everything is insane. Another Dem lawmaker urges Biden to withdraw from following press
Yeah,
conference.
the press conference.
It's already over.
It's over.
That's all right. We've had a great
No,
conversation.
no. I mean, his president or his candidacy is ending. We're watching them say already in the Chiron.
All right. Can they hear this? I gotta piss, dude.
I don't know. Now it's
Okay, there we go. The song's. Are the mics muted?
That's what you need to hear, and I believe that I have now made this clear. If you would let me on, then maybe I would see if the sentiment has died, if this love was lost on me. This had never really happened at all. It was hard to tell because it felt like I was dreaming. There must have been a point where we ended. There must
That's cool.
something to see.
That's cool.
I can have that in the back. Like,
Well, here's what we'll do. Here's what we'll do is I'll make this shit, or we'll make this shit for all like my songs, Montoya songs, that kind of shit. So it'll just be on the file. Because normally what we'll do when we, like next week when we have Josie over, it'll be her music or her music videos. And that's how I used to have it. It'd be like, all right, we're gonna play one of your songs. Which one is it? And even if it's fucking YouTube video, it doesn't matter. So we'll set that up too, where at a button press, not only will I pull up the YouTube link with video, but it goes full screen, skips the ads, everything goes right into the video. You gotta pull the address of the code. You find their music video at youtube.com/ and then there's a number of letters. Take that, pull that, just the numbers of letters amongst the regular music. Pull all the shit around it and you add in, it's like autoplay, full screen, yes, question mark, blah, 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 blah. And when you do that, it understands what you're doing and it just bypasses all the ads. But it has to be like literally programmed to an actual address. All right, you can... All right, did I unmute him? Don't touch it. Did that work?
yes.
Okay, perfect. So we're back. That's how we should do it full time, is let me do it from over here. Just for that stupid shit. That way I know when we're fucking muted. That way I don't say something wild when I think we're...
You got any?
I don't want to hot mic
got
it.
any new tunes?
We just played one.
Oh,
do you want to hear one more?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't want to smoke on camera.
Dude, you have to stay on camera. Smoke on camera. I'm smoking a cigar, and I'm smoking fucking legal weed, dude.
I mean, if somebody got
no
this
one's gonna
far
give
in
a
the podcast,
shit that you're smoking a cigarette on fucking camera. Dude, you're such a Democrat now. Are you that afraid of being canceled?
Oh, no, I'm afraid of insurance. I'm afraid of... I don't know.
Bro, homie.
I would love to know.
There's no way an insurance agent is watching this deep in to deny you for a life insurance claim. You smoked a cigarette once, 2 hours into a podcast.
I saw it. This guy is...
That's such bullshit too, because
this guy
it's like...
goes to the doctor once
So he's been
every 4
sitting
years.
directly next to a guy who's been smoking a cigar the whole time, and that's okay. But the moment he put his lips to that cigarette...
Oh, this is a great lead-in. I would love to know where we're at on secondhand smoke, right? Like, it should have gone down crazy amounts by now, right? Like, they got secondhand out of nearly every place ever.
Sure.
We should be at, like...
Way less lung cancer is what you're saying?
gone straight down.
Yeah, I'm interested. So that's a great question,
I've
and
been
I
wondering this for years,
I
and
can't even speculate on it, but I'll throw another variable in there, right? Just so people can
fun.
think about nicotine
Yeah.
differently, right? Oh, so check this out. And I'm not doing the stupid Joe Rogan thing. Nicotine's a nootropic. Everybody knows that now. That's not what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. I quit smoking cigarettes.
Sure, I was wondering. Yeah.
And people say that there's more nicotine in a cigar than there is in, like, however, whatever.
Sure.
And even my buddy Kevin, who's pretty fucking smart, tried to say, no, you get more nicotine when you smoke a cigar because it's more direct. It's right in your mouth. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Filter?
It doesn't make any sense because you shouldn't be inhaling a cigar, right? So the only nicotine you're getting is through your oral pores, which even if there's more nicotine in the entire cigar, it's just through your oral pores.
Right.
But here's what I noticed. Yes, it's anecdotal, but when I was a cigarette smoker, dude, I couldn't go 2 hours.
Oh,
I'd fucking kill somebody, dude.
Sure.
Smoking cigars?
Yeah, how
I can go.
How?
I mean, I smoke cigars all day, every day, right? I'll light a cigar on my way to work, right? And take a couple puffs just to get a little nicotine in the system, right? I'll smoke that same cigar all fucking day long. On a podcast, I'll smoke 2 cigars just on a podcast. But if I run out of cigars, I can go 2 days, 3 days without a cigar. I crave them, of course.
Yeah.
I'm definitely still addicted to nicotine.
Sure.
But it's not the psychopathic, I'm going to murder people unless I have a cigarette or a cigar. It's not the same. So I don't think it's really about the nicotine. I think there's something about cigarettes that makes them more carcinogenic, more dangerous, more addictive.
Oh, it's the portability, I would say.
I don't know, dude, because I bring cigars places.
But-
like, I'm always smoking cigars.
Right, but I mean, like, the time, you're not putting, like, a half-burnt stogie in your pocket when you're, like, going out downtown
You
or something.
absolutely can and will. If you're a real cigar smoker,
yeah,
you will.
No,
you totally
I'm
will
with
do
you.
that. Yep.
I'm with you. It's just a far rarer thing that a cigar smoker is like. I mean, even reburning like you're doing, like, I feel like that's a very rare.
The
thing.
hardcore guys absolutely do that. The hardcore guys, even the expensive cigars, hardcore guys will I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
No, I know.
You know, you
I'm
fucking.
with
I get it. It's a fucking $20, $30, $40 cigar. I've watched guys let them go out multiple times for hours on end and fire them back up.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm just saying it's just not like as easy as having 20 rolled up short cigars in your pocket. You can do that, but I would argue that if you had Swishers, pack of small Swishers, you'd be smoking those all day long. Way more. You'd be inhaling, or you'd be smoking cigars time length wise more often if you always had Swishers around all the time. Because
Maybe
it's
the
less of a time
maybe the proverbial me, but not literally me. Because I have cigars with me all the time.
Sure, yeah. No, and you've adapted to that. And I would say part of that is being a
It's one of the reasons I don't like hanging out in other people's places anymore. Because I can't smoke cigars.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I
I'm
love
with you.
smoking cigars. It's such an enjoyable experience versus cigs. Cigs felt like maintenance. This feels like an experience every time.
Sure.
Every time.
Oh, right on. I like that.
Dude, you should come hang out sometime. There's this place. It's like a outdoor cigar lounge
okay.
right here in Camden, and they serve cocktails and shit, dude. You should come hang sometime, dude.
Cool.
It'd be a perfect
Sure,
place
yeah.
for you and I to go hang.
Yeah, we should hang. Outside of here for sure. Oh, Misty, man, we have
I missed you too,
we always
buddy.
have good combos, man. I mean,
I do miss living across the street from you. man.
no, I know, man.
We used to hang
We had
out
good
so
times.
much, dude.
We had good time.
We used to hang out so much. My favorite experience was you and I were hanging
Wall
out,
Street.
drinking wine. No,
Oh,
you and
that
I were
was the
drinking
funnest
wine,
time.
and we were watching the Malaysian flight, whatever.
Oh,
that had just
870 or
disappeared.
whatever. Yeah.
And my neighbor started like banging on the floor really loud, like she dropped a bunch of bowling balls. So I went up there and I knocked on the door and I was like, "What are you doing up here? Are you
You
bowling?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "It's super loud downstairs." And then remember, she called the cops on us and said we were playing loud rap music with loud bass. That's why they showed up.
As the news.
And then when they got there, they came in and hung out and looked at us, and they were like, she also said you threatened to kill her. And I was like, nah. And they were like, yeah, we didn't think so. They just left. Do you remember that, dude? It was so funny, dude. They were standing in the middle of my apartment. You remember this?
I do remember the cops showing up. I don't remember the threatening to kill her.
Yeah, and they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, we didn't think that happened. And they just like left, dude. Like nothing happened.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty hard to be like, oh, they're being super aggressive watching CNN.
That was before I knew CNN was full of shit.
I got a buddy that's really into UFO stuff, and he turned me on to, I mean, I don't know. It was a wild theory, but the UFO world was into this idea that the 870 flew into like a weird portal or something like that. Did you
Oh,
ever
sure. Like a
catch it?
Bermuda Triangle style.
Yeah. But like that it disappeared off the
Didn't
map.
they find it? Didn't they find, what was it?
Yeah.
Malaysian Flight 1?
I want to say it was MH870. That's the number that keeps coming to my head.
I don't think it's 870. I think it's 115.
But
What Malaysian flight was it, Murph?
What?
Can you look up the Malaysian flight, whatever, that got lost? Didn't they? That's what I want you to find. Is did they find it? I thought they found it.
I don't think they found everything, which
I think they found enough of it
but
to be
it's
like it
it's
crashed.
major. Yeah. It's tough when it's
370.
ocean stuff.
What is it?
I think it's 370.
Malaysian Flight
370.
370.
An international passenger flight operated, blah, blah, blah.
Malaysian
That
Flight 370.
disappeared.
Did they ever find it? That's what I'm
Search
curious
for
of.
the word found.
I know. I'm a medical patient. You got
Several
medical?
pieces of marine
No.
debris.
No, you know why? Because I'm not gay.
Dude, medical is the life.
No,
bro.
no, it's not. I'll tell you why. You know why? Because if you have medical marijuana, you are
Firearm.
federally not allowed to carry a firearm.
I am aware of this.
Whereas since I just
Hunter Biden.
since I do regular recreational marijuana, which is
Yeah.
perfectly legal,
Yeah.
I'm just not allowed to be on marijuana while I carry my gun in
Right.
public. My favorite part, though, because somebody tried to confront... Dude, there's so many times I've almost shot people living in this neighborhood. I can't even... Dude, I'm not even fucking around right now. I'm being dead ass serious, bro. Like, there's so many... Dude, there's so many times I've almost shot people. But anyways, there's one time this one dude... He tried to confront me, right? And he was like, bro, you can't even be drink, because I had a beer in my hand and my gun in my other hand. And he's like, bro, you can't drink and have a gun. And I was like, that's in public, bro. I'm in my own backyard, dude. You're fucking trespassing. I can be drunk as fuck and still shoot your ass, dude. And he was like, he literally was like, oh shit, that's right, dude.
word?
And he literally, that was the end of it. He was like, oh shit, that's right, dude. And it was so funny to me, dude. And we kind of both laughed about it, and like it de-escalated it so fast, dude. Because he wasn't in my backyard, like he wasn't in my backyard beyond the fence, but he was
Right.
in my yard, like not on the street
Right.
or the
But
sidewalk.
he was
you know what I mean?
like in the driveway. or
he was
whatever.
in my
Yeah.
property. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh,
And we
yeah.
were like face to face across the
Yeah.
because he was across the fence, so
Yeah.
he could have grabbed me. Like a bunch of shit
Yeah.
was about to go down. Like, and he had something in his hand, like I don't know what it was, but it was like looked like a tiny pipe.
Sure.
Something he was holding in his hand, like basically was the.
He's like,
equivalent
I
of,
found something. I'm gonna go
Like, it-
do something with it.
dude. It's a methadone clinic down there, dude. So it's gotten so much better. I shouldn't talk that much shit anymore, dude. But like when we first moved here, it was fucking wild, dude. Like I'm not joking. There's so many times
seen
I've
some good
almost shot
stats,
people,
man.
dude.
It sounds like things are getting a little bit better over here. Is what I've been hearing.
Well, yeah.
Statistic wise, I don't know. But you live here, so
Specific-
I'm only
well,
gonna.
here's
I'm
the thing.
only gonna, take that so far.
Here's what I'll tell you.
You live here.
During the riots, we created a little bubble, and so that was cool.
Yeah.
And then when it came to everything else, it was basically one bad house, and it was the people in the blue house across the street. Well, they got evicted. That dude's remodeling that house, and overnight it became a better neighborhood. And now this new family moved in next door, and those people were already cool, and now the new people are even cooler. So it's kind of like, because you were around. I've talked about this. What happened in Northeast? The basically it's gentrification, right? But gentrification gets a bad name, right? Everybody
It's a
thinks
tough. Yeah. No,
everybody
I know,
thinks
man.
gentrification is displacing poor people, but what it really is doing is it's raising the standard of living for everybody in the area, which is better for everybody, including the poor people.
Agreed.
As long as they're not
You-
completely 100% priced out of the area,
Agreed.
which is what usually happens. But the point is like super impoverished, bad neighborhoods are never good for anybody. And if the only way to clean them up is through gentrification, and then those other poor people have to go to other neighborhoods, but those neighborhoods are not poor, in the long run, it's still better for them too.
I'm with you, man.
And this happened to us in Northeast, right? So like I grew up in Northeast. It was a crack neighborhood when we moved there. And then it got remodeled. You were living there.
2004 is what I moved to.
So you moved in about 6 years after I did. So a lot of the crazy crackheads had already moved out, but it was still not the best. There was a lot of pedophiles, registered sex offenders down on Polk Street.
That tattoo face lady that used to wander the neighborhood?
Yeah, dude.
I
Yeah,
wonder where she's at.
she's still around, dude.
What?
She wanders Central Avenue. She
What? I haven't seen her in
She
a long
wanders
time.
Central and Lowry, dude. You'll catch her on that.
Oh
corner,
yeah,
dude. And
yeah.
she
yelled at me doing nothing multiple times, but
she's
I
down at
lived
the dive
on-
bars and shit too. She
I
might
lived
be
on
dead
Polk.
now, but
I lived on Polk, like right off Central. We'd see a lot of weird.
that's the
stuff.
block I'm talking about,
Yeah.
dude. Polk was riddled with like registered sex offenders and just like it was a bad block, dude.
Right.
And what happened was all the fucking Mexicans moved in and bought all those cheap, shitty houses and fixed them all up,
Oh,
and made it
man.
nice as fuck.
Yeah, no.
Dude, made it
The
nice as fuck,
Ecuadorians
dude.
and Mexicans
Dude,
have
yeah,
really,
they might have not been Mexican. I shouldn't generalize,
they've
but
really,
the Latinos, for
they've
sure.
really thrown down for making their properties nice, man. There's some of the nicest properties in that whole neighborhood. Is like,
You want to play racism roulette?
I mean, it's
I'm joking, but
no, it's a funny thing though.
Mexicans are my favorite
because-
immigrants.
no,
That's what I was gonna say.
No, man,
They're awesome. You know what they
Our
remind me of?
Latin American, South American,
You know
all
what-
those
you know what-
brothers and sisters, man, they're awesome, man. I mean,
So you know what the Latin
work
American
hard.
immigrants
They
remind
put
me of,
into
though?
their local communities. They start restaurants. They're like about it, man. I love it.
Do you know what the Latin Americans remind me of? The Latin American immigrants.
What's that?
They remind me of white, blue-collar, Midwestern Americans from the mid to late 80s
I'm
through the
with you.
early to mid 90s.
Totally, man.
Like, they work construction.
Yep.
They do drywall. They work on cars. They do all the fucking cool, badass,
Yep.
manly fucking
Yep.
metal shit that I
Yep.
grew up with.
that we
and
all
they-
pay people to do
Dude,
now.
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And they fucking, dude, they will fucking move into a
They do,
shitty
man.
house,
Yeah.
and when they leave, it's fucking nice, bro.
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
they'll be
I know, man.
they'll be renters. My neighbors are doing this right now. They're renters, and they're gonna drywall and remodel the basement. They're renters,
Nice.
bro.
Yeah, renters.
Ain't no white renters doing that anymore, bro. They used to. They don't do that shit anymore, dog.
The most
No.
I could do is empty the dehumidifier. That's the most I could do to make this nice.
Dude. Yeah, that's why I said you want to play racism roulette. Because, dude, like I'm saying, like I honestly, man, living in this city, dude, it is maybe other than New York and maybe LA, and I would argue still here is the most diverse city in the country. Because think about it, not only do we
There's
have
a shitload of
not-
white people, but man, we got a lot of
Well,
cultures represented.
That's what I was gonna say. Is not only do you have white, black, what brown is Latino, right? You have
Sure.
red, which is natives,
We
right?
got huge Hmong population.
Right, we have
huge
Asians, right? Which is, what did
Somali,
they say,
yeah.
yellow? Okay, but then we have all the subsets of those cultures, which a lot of other cities don't have,
Mhm.
right? So, like, that's what I was getting at, is we have, like, multiple different Hmong nationalities that came over here. We have multiple different, I don't think Hmong nationalities would be the right
No,
term, but
no.
you get my point.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
got Somalians,
But no, different countries. You got
fucking
Vietnamese,
Syrians
you
now.
got
Yeah, we've got
Laos. Yeah.
dude, and then all the Central Americans, mostly Mexicans, but still all the Central Americans. You got a lot of Guatemalans up here,
Mhm.
actually.
No,
some
Minnesota has really
Colombians,
thrown
there's
down
some
for a lot
Chileans.
of refugees for many, many decades.
Which has completely ruined the city, but the food's dope,
No,
dude. We've got some
mean-
good food now.
I mean, I would say the danger of whatever of allowing multiple generations of refugees.
no, I don't. I'm joking.
No,
Refugees and immigrants are not the problem.
But it's
Here's
the
what
first
problem is.
generation. It's the first
It's
generation.
not even the first
of-
generation.
Of
That may be true, but
of
that's not what I'm
refugees.
really saying. It's the amount in the amount of time.
Oh, sure.
Right, so we can only take in so many so fast
Sure.
before it destabilizes what we can police, what we can help. There's only so much money,
Sure.
there's only so many resources, and we have to be able to integrate people and get them on their feet to where they're a contributing member of society
I'm with
and not just a net negative. That's what I think the problem is with being a sanctuary state and with having
Sure.
open borders and allowing people
Sure.
to run across. Like, we
Sure.
just can't handle it, dude. And you got to leave it to the economists, because they think at this point maybe it could be 2 million a year. Maybe it was 1 million a year for the longest time, and they're like, I think we're big enough, maybe we can double it. And that is outside of specialized visas. That is outside of work
Sure.
visas. That's
Right,
outside
right,
of, like,
right.
this is a really great
Yeah,
scientist. We need to
documented stuff.
we
Yeah.
need to expedite their
Yeah.
fucking immigration.
Yeah, I'm with you.
This is regular ass people. What we can't have. What are the recent immigration numbers per day, Murph? Can you pull that up? This is what's not okay. And then Minnesota's like, yep, give them all driver's licenses. I'm like, oh my God. You basically gave a bunch of 16-year-olds driver's licenses that don't speak the language. Like, you gotta. I barely am okay with, let's say you never had a license and you're fucking 40 years old and you want to go get a car for the first time. I'm barely okay with the idea that you don't have to go to driver's ed. I'm barely okay with the fact that you're an adult. All you should have to do is fucking do your actual driving test and pass the written test. I'm barely okay with that.
Sure.
The only reason I'm okay with that is because you've grown up here, you understand the culture, you know how to read the language.
Sure.
I'm not okay with that if I move to France.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
and I
right.
don't have to know.
Oh,
no, dude.
I
no,
can drive a
no.
car. Like,
I need to learn how to speak the language. I
Right.
need to go to a driver's ed class. I need to like become a competent driver to drive in France. Like,
Sure.
it's a
I'm with
thing.
you.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It needs to happen.
I'm with you.
The way we just willy-nilly gave them all driver's licenses, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And now there's there's so many problems. 2,200 daily arrivals are refugees or immigrants who've been invited to become permitted residents of the United States. Finally, about 5,000 foreigners make unauthorized entries each day. About 4,000 of them are apprehended. I don't believe these numbers.
Well, and that's the
Up top. Here's what it says.
tough thing about
70,000 foreigners a day is what's
Wow.
arriving. Most are travelers, not settlers. 60,000 are tourists.
So yeah, I mean, and you have
Yeah,
people
this is. When did this come out, dude? This
Well-
is not.
Well, and you
When did this come out? When was this done? 1999. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit, dude.
But this was.
I'm
a
like,
lesson,
there's no way that's
this was
true.
a
I was
le-
like, there's no way that's
This
true,
was a
dude.
good lesson in literacy, though. That,
Well, and it's
that
a good
you
one-
asked.
Ask
you,
a follow-up question,
this,
bro.
I mean, this is where I think Joe Rogan has fallen off a lot. Is he's like, oh, yep, we pulled that up. That's all I need to know is that number. And okay, thanks, JB. And though I think JB is
JB's the best
possibly
producer of all
smarter,
time.
yeah, probably smarter than Joe Rogan at the end of the day. Of like
On certain
yeah,
things.
hey, bro.
On certain things.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't like doing this with intelligence
I don't
anymore
want to
because
get. It's
I-
not
I've
a
learned-
debate
dude,
about that. But
I have somebody- I have
maybe
somebody in my
more, intellectual.
I
or
have
something.
somebody in my life who's allegedly smarter than me, right? And seemingly smarter than me some of the time.
allegedly in a court.
But this person has said some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Ooh, give me some. You haven't named any names, so
some
it
of
doesn't matter.
some of his thoughts and opinions are absolutely textbook dictionary definition fucking retarded. Like slowing or preventing progress. Where I'm like, you fucking idiot. Like, and I've actually said to him, you are way too fucking smart to be this fucking dumb.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because that's how dumb what you just said is. Like,
Wow.
that's how dumb that is, what you just said. It's fucking...
Do you talk to this person a lot still?
Yeah,
After
yeah.
saying that to them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, like it's one of the homies.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, respect to the homie
So
for,
what I've learned-
for like taking that and not just running away.
Well, I mean, he's definitely said similar things to me. And he's right. And he's right.
All
And
right.
this is what I
Fair,
said
bro. I
earlier.
like it.
I'm also a dumb person who occasionally has good takes.
Right.
And that's what I kind of think of intelligence is. Really, what it really is focus and mastery of a limited number of topics.
Sure.
And I think you could be a genius in like 2 or 3 things. And then the rest of your intelligence is just your basic ability to problem solve
Sure.
and understand general concepts.
I'm with that. Yeah.
But I know people that aren't that bright when it comes to anything. But as soon as you start talking to them about engines, bro,
Sure.
get out of the way because this guy knows everything.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna sound
This
like
is
an
an
idiot
actual
if you
genius.
try to offer
This is an
anything
actual
about this.
fucking
Yeah.
genius.
Sure. Yeah.
But he can only be a genius about like 1 or 2
Sure.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you.
What is this? 128,000 people per day right now
And
in
that's
April
just the
2024.
border. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard
that's
those
what it
numbers
is.
have gone down since then, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but here's my point: is
No,
is back in the day, the
yeah,
number was a
even if
million
it's
people
80,
per
yeah.
year.
There you go.
yeah,
It used to be
70,000 a day.
that's 70,000 a day. That I
That's
guarantee
the
that
same
source.
thing. That's the same
That
thing we were
source is
looking
the
at.
first
Yeah.
article you went to.
Yep,
The
yep.
no,
This is
up
why-
top is more accurate. I guarantee you, up top is more accurate
yeah, that's
'Cause-
April 2020.
because this is Google's new AI
This
that's
is
sorting.
per month.
Yep.
yeah,
This is for the month of April.
yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah.
Oh, that is for the whole
For the
month
whole
of April.
Yeah.
and that's ports of entry.
Yeah.
Along the southwest border, though. That's not the whole country.
It's
This
not.
is what I'm trying to say. So
it's almost.
it specifically says the southwest entry. So
Yeah.
this is my point, though, is like back in the day, it used to be we can handle 1 million. Now they were like, maybe it's 2 million. But that was legal through a process in a slow drip throughout the year.
Yeah.
Not 128,000
Right,
in
right.
1 month through just one section
Sure,
of the country.
sure.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah,
dude.
I was talking about genuine refugees when I was talking about Minnesota, like people escaping war and things like that.
How many of those do you think are really there, though?
Oh,
I don't
man.
think it's nearly as many as they say there is, especially when they're Chinese.
Oh, I don't know about Chinese.
You don't know about this?
I was just, I mean, the African immigrants and stuff. I've
No,
heard
no.
some.
I'm talking about Chinese military-aged men with crew cuts, cell phones that are
coming over
kind
the
of
border.
jacked. They're kind of jacked, so they look like they kind of just
Sure.
got out of boot camp.
Sure.
Right? Like, see if you can find this clip, Murph. Chinese military-aged men crossing the southern border. This is the craziest thing. You haven't seen this?
No,
This
no,
is real.
no.
I've watched these videos. Yeah, and they're not even like subtle about it. It's a bunch of them. They have like perfect military haircuts, right? They're like perfectly dressed like they're military guys pretending to be civilians. They're coming across the Mexican border, right, into America, and they already have cell phones and like stocked backpacks. Like they don't look like they've been fucking. They don't look like they're coming from
They look
the
like they
depths
got
of South
airdropped,
America.
like,
yeah,
in
dude,
Juarez
yeah,
or something.
dude, yeah, dude, yeah, dude. Wait till you see this. It's literally unbelievable. I swear to God, you better find this one, Murph. Hopefully, this is it. These look like regular Chinese people. Still suspicious, but no, I'm not talking about any of these guys. These guys did not.
I mean, it's still wild.
This is definitely a different place on the southern border because this is clearly cold as well. They all have real coats on. The guys I'm talking about, dude, had shirts on like ours, like mine. Like they're like plain gray, not white. They're like a. They fill out their shirts much better than I do.
It's too wild.
Dude.
That alone, I mean, that alone is
That
really
that
wild.
alone is a little
It's
sus,
really wild to
but-
just be like,
but the
hey,
Chinese
how do
people
you
coming
do,
in through
fellow
Mexico-
Mexicans? Like, yeah, let's all go to the border now. Like, what? Where did you go?
So there's another one where this has probably been Steve's hardest podcast because I'm just bombarding him with pull this up shit. But yeah, perfect. Just play this stuff in the background until you find it, and then yeah, look at these guys. Yeah, look at these guys. So actually, these aren't even the guys. That's one of them. That's one of them right there. Back that up in the black T-shirt. Okay, back that up right
Yeah,
there.
no.
See him in the black T-shirt right there in the middle of the screen. Nope, to the right, short sleeve shirt.
Yeah,
That guy.
yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. So imagine him in like a grayish shirt, but see how perfect his haircut is?
Yeah.
Look how clean he looks. Look, dude, his arms are like not jacked, but he's like, dude, he's been doing this is
he
not a
looks fit.
refugee.
No, I'm with you.
He's clean as fuck. His shirt is tucked in.
Yeah.
The black on his belt is still shiny. He's got a perfectly
I
fucking
mean-
silver suitcase, dude.
How are these people?
Bro,
Are they just
they're
flying in?
fucking spies, dude.
How do
Like
they-
we are being
Infiltration.
overrun by the communist government of
I mean-
China and Russia, dude. I'm telling you, dude.
Where are they being
You've
dropped?
never seen this before.
No, but where are they being dropped
I
off?
can't believe you've never seen this.
No,
This is the shit I'm talking about. So because whatever you're watching as news sources,
Yeah.
and the fact, and this needs to be emphasized, what you're watching plus the fact that you're from here, this is not part of your algorithm
There's another one.
I'm with-
because they need to keep you aligned with going, no, the border's not really that big of a problem. The numbers have come down, right? But if you're from Texas, this is all you fucking see.
Right. Okay, so they're at San Diego border.
Yeah,
Okay,
bro.
so they're being dropped off in like the Baja or something.
And this is a crazy thing. So again, here's my point.
So
in
they go,
California,
"Wait."
so this is in California, but in California, this isn't big news. This is big news in Texas. So I found out about this from my homies in Texas.
Oh, sure.
So San Diego
Okay.
news is bigger in Texas
Sure.
than it is in
Yeah, that
California
make-
because
yeah.
California is left, Minnesota's left,
Sure.
Texas
Yeah,
is
yeah.
right.
I'm with
So
you.
this news is common knowledge in Texas where it's not even happening.
Right,
It is
right.
happening, but not this moment, not
Right.
this,
Well,
not
I mean,
this piece
well,
of news
and,
story.
And this, and
you
to,
see what I'm saying though?
to
Like,
that point, like
even the
I'm
national news is
envisioning,
like
I'm
tailored to
envisioning
us.
like the Texas border, like how, what? And it's like, okay, so what kind of, yeah.
So do you know what they're doing in Texas? They bum rush. They fucking do it in like hordes, like a Naturo running or whatever, Naruto running, whatever it's called, right? They bum rush, and here's the deal. They know which ones to run towards. So the ones that are federal wear like what is it, a green uniform or something, and the Texas guys wear like a tan uniform.
Sure, yeah.
So they know if they run to the green guys, they get automatic refuge.
Sure.
Right,
Okay.
and they get a cell phone and money and a ticket to go. If they get caught by the guys in the tan
Tan or-
uniform,
yeah.
they get arrested and they get deported.
Come on.
And so they just bum rush the border, and whoever fucking makes it. And if you're lucky enough to get caught by the guy in the right uniform, you get to stay.
I mean, this
Dude,
sounds
it's
like
a game.
blast.
It's
Let's
a
go.
game, dude. It's a fucking game, and it's costing us a fortune.
You know, Channel
costing
5
us a
stuff at all?
fucking
You
fortune,
run into
dude.
that stuff? Andrew Callahan, Channel 5
Mm-mm.
on YouTube. All gas, no brakes.
See if you can find
Any
videos
that
of any
stuff?
of this stuff, Murph.
All gas, no brakes. Any of that stuff?
I wanted to name my podcast that.
Oh, well, you must have run into this stuff then, man. That guy makes really
I mean, I don't
cool.
watch his videos, but I know
Oh,
that
you should
it's a
check it out,
podcast,
man.
dude.
Check out the Channel 5.
Well, here's the
dude.
thing. I
'Cause
try
he
not to
went
watch
the,
podcasts
But
anymore.
he went to the. He's not a podcast. He's like a mini documentarian sort of person.
Fair.
Really good Vegas tunnels, like these tunnels under
All Gas
Vegas.
No Breaks isn't a podcast?
No. It's like it was a documentary series on Vice, and then they cut him
Love that
off.
phrase. I love that phrase. All Gas No
Yeah,
Breaks.
it's awesome.
The other one I love is Full Send.
I mean, he was in the middle
Full
of the Floyd protests, like just asking people, like, "What are you here for? What's going on? What are you doing?" Like,
But what do you know about the Floyd protests? Because I'll tell you what, dude. From the people I know, dude, and I was this is kind of when I started my live streaming, was right as the Floyd protests started, because I literally predicted this happening like days before. What I didn't predict was that it would be in Minneapolis and it would be a counterfeit $20 bill. But what I literally said is, as soon as the lockdowns happened, I said, here's what's going to happen, because this is a bad idea. We shouldn't lock people down like this. And here's what's going to happen. Because they were shutting jobs down, declaring who's essential, who's not. I said some fucking poor black dude is going to go into a fucking market and he's going to try to steal. I was actually describing the scene from Aladdin, where I was like, he's going to steal a loaf of bread to feed his fucking family. And the loaf of bread was a metaphor for food.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, no.
I didn't mean a literal loaf of bread, although
Sure.
I do think there was bread in the grocery basket that he fucking tried. And I didn't call it a fake $20 bill. I just said straight up theft.
Right.
But I literally, and then I predicted all the things that would happen since then. And then, like a week later, George Floyd happened. And so I started streaming. And while I watched the protests at the 3rd Precinct happen, in real time, I was like, this isn't us. The people that are down there, those aren't people from that area. I was like, I know my people. I was like, this isn't us. This is outside people. And the more and more I got information from people on the ground, I heard about buses of people dressed in all black coming in from out of town. Almost every single person that was actually arrested was, even if they had a Minneapolis residency on their license, they're not from here.
Right.
They moved here from somewhere else. Like no organic Minnesotans were doing any of that I mean, I'm sure there was some.
It was like suburban people, all sorts of.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And even
opportunists.
And even the people from the suburbs, a lot of those people weren't actually from Minnesota.
Right. Oh.
They were, I moved here from Detroit. Oh,
Sure.
I moved here from
Sure.
Sioux Falls. Oh, I moved here from Chicago. Oh, I moved here from LA. Oh, I moved here from Las Vegas, whatever. Like, when you do the research on because it's all public information, when you do the research on pretty much everybody that was arrested and charged with any seriously violent act,
Yeah.
in
It was
Minneapolis.
nearly outside.
Almost
of
none
Boston.
of them were born and bred right here in
Yep.
Minnesota.
Yep. There's
And that also didn't surprise me. Did you catch on to any of that stuff in real time? Or was it, or did it take time before you guys started? Because you're in Northeast where I'm from, which is,
Yeah.
was like, you guys escaped it.
Yeah,
Like, it,
yeah,
you just like,
the funniest thing.
no one
was
rioted.
They
Like,
barricaded the precinct there, and they had barbed wire up for months.
but
and-
even when they went up Central and did
Yeah.
a shit, they didn't go into your neighborhoods and terrorize you like
Nope.
they did here. Like,
Not
this
at
was
all.
chaos here. This
Yeah.
was ground fucking zero
Yeah,
because they chased
totally.
everybody out of South and
Yep.
they funneled everybody up here.
Yep.
So I was out there
Yeah.
with my AR till fucking 4 a.m. every fucking morning. And if you look at the incident map on my address over that time, you'll see this interesting little halo, this
Sure.
little bubble where
Yeah.
like nothing happened on this
the
block.
whole neighborhood, like,
Not
came
the whole
together.
neighborhood, no, just this block.
Oh, the block came
I'm
together.
not. I'm
yeah.
not pretending I'm a fucking superhero. I
No,
fucking protected
no,
about 4 houses, bro.
Yeah, no,
But
no.
then the other guys came and protected their houses, and we built a little coalition. So this one
Yeah.
block.
Yeah, it
was
sounds
able to
like
escape all
you
that
built
shit.
your own little community here
I
during
built an
that
army.
time. Yeah, well, that too.
I built an army,
Yeah,
is what I
it
did.
can be
And we
the
were
same
ready to
thing.
shoot people.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it was not
right.
peaceful. It was not
Right.
harmonious. It wasn't
No,
beautiful.
no,
it
no.
was built on violence, dude. Let's just be
but
straight with
it's-
each other. Let's
but
get real fucking
community
honest.
is community, however it's created.
But nobody fucked with us.
Right. No,
Like,
and,
we
and
fucking
that's-
unified real fucking quick, dude.
And
Sadly,
don't-
none of those people live here
I
anymore.
mean, I'm mad that the police didn't hold their ground. The second they gave up that precinct,
You're talking about the 3rd precinct?
when they gave it up, you basically declared surrender and you walked away and you literally ran away. You ran to your cars and you all got the fuck out of there. That's where I feel like where there was a real dereliction of duty. And I don't blame them for being afraid and whatever, but man, that was when
So the
you gave
question
up
is-
the
so the
fort
question
and
is-
like you ceded.
So the question is how
Everything.
long were you supposed to hold out knowing there's no reinforcements coming? Because I actually don't, as much as I hate the fucking cops, I don't blame the cops in that scenario at
Sure,
all.
yeah.
Who I blame is actually,
I just know it was the inflection point of when the city lost control.
and who I blame for that
And
is
not
actually,
bringing all the precincts there. You should have had them all come there
So-
at that point.
so who I blame for that is not even the mayor, who I think is a cuck, Jacob Frey.
Sure,
He
yeah.
cries on TV too much.
Yeah.
It's not even Tim Walz, the governor. Who I blame is Keith Ellison, the attorney general. Because in those scenarios, when to call out the National Guard and start moving resources, they consult attorneys. Because
Sure.
they start thinking about lawsuits and like, where are we constitutionally?
Right, sure.
And the attorney general is supposed to be
He's
able
going
to
to be that.
navigate that.
Sure.
And the attorney general, Keith Ellison, is the one who told the governor not to nationalize or not to mobilize the National Guard.
Sure.
And Jacob Frey, he told him not to reinforce it with other city police. He said, let it go. Let them burn it out of their system, is what he said.
Yeah.
So these things become problematic, especially when Keith Ellison is on camera with a picture on Twitter with an Antifa handbook
I saw that.
that says, this is Trump's worst nightmare. And it goes,
Sure.
oh, okay, so you're conspiring against the actual president with a literal terrorist organization. You don't know it yet.
Sure.
I'm speaking, as a Monday morning quarterback, but I knew at the moment too. I did actually I lost my mind at that point because I'm one of the very few people who knew from day one. I'm like, Antifa is not anti-fascist. What they are is pro-fascism, and what they are doing is secretly ushering in fascism by creating riots and creating violence to literally get new legislation and new laws passed to usher in a more authoritarian government. Because that's what always happens with these things.
But I
Same
mean,
thing
none
with
of that
acts of
has
terrorism.
really happened.
No, it absolutely has. It
Since
absolutely
then?
has.
What?
100. So literally, because of Antifa, Trump started exercising the rights of the Patriot Act that everyone was worried about 20 years before that. So there's unmarked cars running around abducting people off the street during the riots without due process any of that shit.
Oh, sure.
Complete-
That's
like
what you mean. I
actual
see.
some dark level Homeland Security.
Right.
Now we're kidnapping
No,
people,
Scanner
dude.
Darkly.
Dude,
Yeah, I know.
And it gave them all the fucking justification to continue to not only fucking surveil people, but to start bringing in censorship, which all got exercised under the Biden administration, but it was ushered in under the Trump administration because of laws that were passed under the Bush and Obama administration. So again, that's why I keep saying you can't blame one of these parties.
Oh.
It's both of these parties.
Sure.
And I'm not even going third party anymore. I'm like, yeah, because that's just, we have even less people
Right.
that are happy about the government if you have a third party in there. Like, we're basically fucked. And the problem is
No, we
instead
need
of
at least four parties is really what it comes
we
down
used to have like 12, dude.
Yeah, no, I know. We need like four solid parties that actually trade off.
To put this stupid thing to bed, here's what I think the actual answer is ranked choice voting.
We
It doesn't
got it
matter
here.
if we have
Yeah.
one party, 8 parties, 16 parties.
I'm with you.
Ranked choice voting will solve that problem.
Yep.
Put
'Cause
them in order.
People have a top two every time.
And Hillary Clinton would have been at the bottom of mine.
Sure.
But Trump wouldn't have been number one.
All right. Right.
Gary Johnson was number one.
Yep.
And I think
Yeah, I
if
voted
people,
for just
I think a
Trump.
lot of
Yeah.
people like that, like us,
Yeah.
would have done that. Well, yeah, I want Gary Johnson, but I don't think he's going to win. So if he doesn't win, then I want it to go to Trump. Or
Yeah.
the next person goes,
Yeah.
well, if he doesn't win, I want it to go to Hillary. And then all of a sudden, we actually all end up with a reasonable guy named Gary Johnson who did a great fucking
Yeah.
job as governor in New Mexico. And we're not here right now,
Sure.
8 years
Yeah.
later. We wouldn't be. If Gary Johnson was voted in 2024, or sorry,
mean,
2020,
yeah.
sorry, 2016, I guarantee you here in 2024, we'd be talking about who's taking over for Gary Johnson. He would have won in 2020.
Sure.
He would have been a great
He's
fucking
kind of a
president.
goof, but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
I
but he
know.
was a
He's
great-
real person.
Great
I mean, that's,
governor,
that's,
which is a president of a
that-
state.
Yeah. No, I know. And actually, I like Tim Walz for a similar reason. Like, he seems like just a dude. And
Yeah, except for the red flag law and the trans refuge bill. Then
but
now I'm out.
I just
now I'm out, man.
I just
we're not
mean
transitioning
on a,
kids,
on a,
and
on
we're
a
not taking
human,
guns from
on
people
a
who haven't
human
done
level
anything
is what
wrong.
I'm talking about. He seems like just a dude, and doesn't feel like a politician.
Yeah, until he's talking about the trans refuge bill, and then he goes, I don't understand what you people can't get through your heads. When we give rights to people, we're not taking them away from somebody else. And I go, yeah, you literally are. You're giving rights to children and taking them away from their own literal parents. Like, that's what you're doing. And anybody who says you're not is lying. Including you, dude.
Sure.
Like, no, you went too far. You're not giving rights to anybody with the fucking red flag laws. You're stripping people of their constitutional
Yeah.
rights to bear arms when
red
they
flags
haven't
is like
fucking done
one
anything.
of the only things we have, though. I mean, to stem gun violence.
Here's the thing.
which-
I'll give you an analogy, dude. I'll give you an analogy. Okay.
it's one of the only things we have to prevent.
Everything
That's
in the
really what it
religion of
comes down to.
Islam, in its core tenets, are anti-American and anti-liberal. They're anti-women, they're anti-democracy, they're everything, right?
No.
However,
I mean, you could get into that with the Bible as well.
However, dude, Christians are not forcing women to leave the house with men. Christians are not forcing women
Sure.
to dress a certain way before they're allowed to leave the house.
I'm talking about the original Bible. I
neither
wasn't
are-
saying
Well,
US
that's technically
Christians.
Judaism. Technically, the original Bible, the Old Testament. Technically, that's the Torah.
sure. I mean,
And
I'm
even
not talking
that-
just Old
and even
Testament,
that
but
is
that's
still-
where a lot of the hardcore stuff is.
But even that is still just like Orthodox Judaism, because even most Judaism is pretty fucking liberal now.
Sure.
Right? Women are allowed to
Right.
do whatever the fuck
Yeah,
they want.
yeah.
American religions basically do whatever the fuck you want. Okay. When
Yeah.
it comes to women and liberalism and all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
shit. The point
they're
is this.
very liberal.
The point is this. At multiple points of time, in multiple states where there's a large Muslim population, they've continuously tried to literally introduce legislation into American law to allow them to practice versions or literal straight up Sharia law within their own churches. Now, naturally, it's been declined every single time.
Sure.
Why? Because they're not the majority.
Right.
Why? Because we have separation of church and state.
Yes.
Why? Because we have constitutional rights that supersede your silly religion, okay?
Yes.
Here's the point. Eventually, we're not going to be the majority. Eventually, they will have enough numbers, Okay? And if we allow Christians to allow their silly little laws to start influencing our laws,
I'm with you.
then what's going to happen is we've now given legal precedent for once Islam is the majority for them to run the country.
Yep.
We're not going to allow that, right? The forefathers saw this coming, so they said
Yes.
separation of church and state.
Yes.
Then you go, well, we have a serious problem with terrorism and all this other shit. So then some people get reactionary and they go, we should ban Islam. Here's the point. Protecting religious freedoms, protecting the freedom of Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Islam, the necessity and the severity to protect that freedom is so valuable that we must accept the risk of extremist Islamic terrorists. Okay? So yes, every once in a while, a guy's going to blow himself up in the name of Islam.
Sure.
But it is so important that we don't infringe on the rights of the religious people just to try to make us safer.
I hear you.
That analogy needs to also be in place with guns. Yes, every once in a while, we're going to have somebody pop off. And I understand people are like, there's more mass shootings than there are days in the year now.
Sure.
I get it. But when you do the math, it's not like you walk out of the house and you have a greater chance of being struck by lightning than you do being a victim of a mass shooting. Okay?
Sure.
But the absolute necessity of the freedom to bear arms against any invader, foreign or domestic, including the local fucking police who are known to do some shady shit, is greater than the safety of banning guns from people who haven't committed a crime yet. That's the point I'm trying to make.
So
we're not exchanging freedom for safety because that safety is minuscule compared to the importance of that freedom. Same thing with free speech.
any pieces of red flag laws?
No.
I mean, somebody who has assaulted somebody who has assaulted their wife.
We already have all of those laws on the books.
Sure. I mean, those are red flag
That's
laws
all we
to a
have to
point,
all
though.
we have to do is enforce the laws we already have. It's plain and simple. We figured out
So you are in favor of those?
No, we have national. I'm not in favor of anything called a red flag law
Okay. Well,
because those aren't called red flag laws. Those aren't red flag laws.
I mean, in some states they definitely are.
I
mean,
I
that's
don't
where
think any of
in
those are-
southern states. That's how I've been taught about red flags. Is people that have committed like domestic abuse, and then their guns are taken away. They're convicted of abusing their wives or something like that.
I see. Even then, though, it's like I don't know. I'd have to sit down and think about that because. Okay, so you hit your wife. I get that. But that's not necessarily saying, like, you're a murderer or a mass shooter or we need to violate your constitutional rights.
Sure. I mean, I
But
guess
if you're a
we're
convicted
trying-
felon, you're not allowed to have guns.
sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
So-
that's a
so
red
all we're
flag
talking
type
about,
law.
all we're talking about is whether domestic violence should be a felony or not. What does this say, Steve? Go up to the top. What did you highlight? Although the term is not used in Minnesota laws, laws that authorize these types of orders are often called red flag laws. An ERPO, ERPO, may be issued if a person possesses a significant danger of bodily harm to others or a significant risk of suicide if they possess a firearm. Right. So then when you look up how they define that, so see if you can search this in the background. Maybe click on extreme risk protection orders, that actual link up there maybe click on that and you might find like they might cite something as to how they define that.
Where's
Now,
the
when you,
January 1st, 2024.
now when you define this though is the point. When you define what that means. So what we read just now, blah, 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 or significant harm to others, da, da, da,
Sure.
da. When you actually define that, when they list like these are the signs to look out for, it matches perfectly with basic depression or grieving
Sure.
during like
it
a
was-
spouse dying.
Sure. So if you scroll up.
Lean into the mic.
Yep. If you scroll up there, it had who can file an ERPO petition, which is how I think these things are probably. I mean, people aren't doing it for themselves, So you could start an OPPO case in the district court as petitioner. Oh, it doesn't have. You'll be expected to put. Go up.
So it just says who can file it: a family or a household member, a chief law enforcement officer, a city or county attorney, or a guardian. Right? So basically the point is when it says a chief law enforcement officer or a city or county attorney, it means literally anyone. And this can start from a complaint from literally anyone. So your neighbor could call the cops and be like, this motherfucker is exposing signs. Well, that fucking dude doesn't know that your wife just died and you're fucking completely fine.
But
right? People can freak out. What if you have a super hardcore left-wing fucking neighbor who's just super anti-gun and is just looking for any reason to make your life a living hell because they don't like that you cook meat in the backyard?
It literally says you'll be expected to put detailed information in the petition explaining if the respondent is a danger to other persons or is at significant risk of suicide by possessing a firearm.
And again, when you look into this, they will list you a number of symptoms that this person can exhibit, and those symptoms are directly aligned with a grieving spouse. So if your wife dies, dude, and you're just simply depressed and you have a left-wing neighbor that fucking hates your guts, and they can fucking, because this is how vindictive people work, is they will fucking define, and even if they're not right, dude, they can make you go to court, dude, and just have to defend your fuck. But the point is they come in and take your guns first, and then you have to get them back.
I
they don't go through this long duration and process. Sure. They take the guns, and then they make you prove you can get them back.
Just because you filed this? I don't think it says that at all.
Dude, that's literally the whole point of this. Otherwise, they would just take you to court and take your guns.
It says you'll have the burden of proving by clear and convincing evidence that the respondent eliciting your petition.
Yep, keep going. All you have to do is show that they're filing or showing symptoms of basic in how they define. You got to find, Steve, don't make us do this while we're live on the podcast. See if you can find this in the background. But keep searching that and see if you can find it in the background. But they list, because you got to get to how they define this legally. And they list, it's like depression, antisocial disorder. They start going into like bad bodily hygiene, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you can literally transpose that to the psychiatric definition of depression, which is the actual symptoms of grieving when you like lose a spouse. And that's the real point, is that this can and will be used. And when people go, Jared, you're being irrational, which is how it sounds like you're reacting right now.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that.
Here's the point,
I'm just reading what it says as far as who can file. They have the burden of proof.
Said anybody. Which basically said anybody.
It did not say anybody. It said city and county attorney, a guardian, a law enforcement officer. That's not anybody.
It pretty much is, because here's the point, dude.
A cop isn't just going to be like, oh, here's 15 people I walked by.
How does a cop do it, Paul? I call the cops on you.
They're filling out petitions?
No, I call the cops on you. I'm your neighbor. Okay. I don't like you. Okay. I call the cops, and I say, I think this guy's going to go shoot up a school. And they go, why do you think that? And I go, well, he's depressed. He's exhibiting symptoms of antisocial disorder. He's not taking care of himself physically. He seems like he's suicidal. Boom. Now they have just cause because you've been reported. And if they see any of those same symptoms, that police officer now goes down this rabbit hole. So the point is, literally fucking anyone, Paul.
Okay.
Literally fucking anyone.
Okay.
And if you're a family member, and if no, that's not what I said. Is what I said is it's the possibility that this can happen. You've now given control to people to violate somebody's civil rights before they've committed any fucking crime, dude. That's the point I'm trying to make. So what I'm saying is the abuse that can happen, and when people go, dude, that would never happen, which is what you're inferring.
That is not what I'm inferring.
It is what you're inferring. Because you're going, are you really saying cops are doing this?
I mean,
not yet.
Do you think cops want to do this? They want to go file petitions.
When everybody freaked out,
taking people's guns away.
This is what you're doing. This is what they did after 9/11, when all of us freaked out with the Patriot Act, and we said, so now you're going to be able to survey anybody who you call a terrorist, and they go, well, we'll never do it to Americans. And we go, but that's not what the law says. The law says
Sure.
anybody you deem a terrorist.
Here.
Right.
And then they did it, dude. That's my fucking point. So when you do this, when you minimize it, you go, "Oh, come on, they're not really." No, the point is
I'm
this
asking
is what
if
the
you
law says they
genuinely
can't do.
think police are going
So
to
what
go
does this say?
file
What
petitions
have you
about
found, Steve?
random people that have guns.
So
It's not about random
here's the
people.
thing.
It's about somebody with a fucking vindication problem, dude.
if you were given 24 hours to transfer your firearms to a law enforcement agency or federally licensed firearms, you may use the forms listed below. So basically, you don't get your firearms taken away. Oh, wait a minute. You see, there's a court order that has to be made, and then you must immediately surrender your
Right.
firearms.
But
Right,
that's my
so once
that's
a
my point.
judicial
So
officer has decided
it's-
And
there's
then
enough.
you have to. That's my point, though.
But
And then
after
you
the
have to
court.
go to court
Yeah.
to get them back.
Get them back.
That's my point, though.
Yeah.
So no crime has been committed.
No.
They just take them.
If the court, but you have to prove that the person is a risk, and then a judge has to sign off on it,
Yeah,
and then they go take your, or well, they don't
It's-
take them.
yeah,
you
it's
have to
once a
give 'em up.
judicial
Well, what's really
officer
happening here? No,
has
what
decided
you
that
guys
there
aren't
are enough
realizing. What they're
facts.
really saying is you have to prove you're not a risk.
Yeah.
That's the red.
Well, no,
that's for
no,
me the ironic
judge
use of the words.
evalu-
The ironic
The
use of words
judge
here.
evaluates the petition.
That's
that
not
was
okay with
filed.
me. That's not
Well,
okay with
I
me because no
understand
crime has
that,
been committed. No crime is committed. A judge is not. What if it's a left-wing judge who's super fucking anti-gun, dude? Mm-hmm. They have their own
Sure.
personal bias. This is not okay, dude. I have a constitutional fucking. That's like literally saying. That's like literally saying your speech can get so dangerous that we're going to take you to court and temporarily not allow you to have free speech, and then you have to then later prove that you weren't a risk in order for you to have your free speech back. That's the absurdity of what we're talking about, dude.
Sure, I mean,
I'm
it's-
never gonna
there
be
are-
okay with
there
this. There's
are-
no
there are
scenario where
multiple-
this is rational.
So
This
no
is-
amount of threats. I mean, what's the line?
That's
of
already
that?
a law. If you fucking threaten people, dude, you go on a fucking list in your monitor, dude. You can't make terroristic threats and own firearms, dude. Making terroristic threats is a fucking
Right.
felony, dude.
So
Own
that is
Getting-
when somebody would file a petition against you.
No, that's already a fucking crime, bro. That's not me needing to file a red flag petition against you. That's me calling the cops and going, this person threatened to murder everybody on the block, and everybody goes, yeah, he said it. We all fucking saw it. And then if the cop thinks he has justifiable cause, probable cause, he arrests you, you go to trial. If you're convicted, you lose your fucking firearms. That's how the law works, dude. We already have these laws. We don't need this bullshit where somebody can fucking
I mean,
question
there's
your
clearly
sanity.
been loopholes in this.
No,
though.
there's not loopholes. The
There
reality
are all
is this.
sorts of domestic abusers that have murdered their spouses.
That's not a mass shooting. That's not what red
No.
flag laws are for.
Oh, that's not. I was talking about suicide and stuff. That's
Mass-
self-harm,
Dude,
even.
mass shootings are the literal justification for red flag
I
laws.
mean, that-
In his speech that Tim Walz said,
Okay.
in another mass shooting that didn't happen in Minnesota, he said, we're passing red flag laws so these things never happen again. We've had exactly one mass shooting
What do you
here,
think about
and it was
the-
in no, listen. We've had exactly one mass shooting in the entire state of Minnesota in its history. It was in Red Lake on an Indian reservation, okay?
I mean, there was that
So we don't
workplace
have
that
these
got
problems
shot
here.
up. like
We're
5
passing
years
laws
ago
for
in
problems
South.
we don't have. It's not a mass shooting, dude. A suicide isn't a mass shooting. You don't have the right.
That didn't say mass shooting at all in what we just looked at.
Though I'm telling you, the whole justification was a mass shooting.
Okay.
Like there was another mass shooting that happened. That was the speech Tim Walz gave. That was the reason they passed the red flag laws, was to prevent more mass shootings, which isn't the thing that happens in Minnesota. It's really not. And a mass shooting is anybody more than 3. So a guy who fucking commits suicide and a murder suicide and kills his fucking family, technically that's a mass shooting.
Yes.
So even the idea of a mass shooting is sensationalized and over exaggerated. Because if a guy kills himself, his wife, and his daughter, that's not the same as walking into fucking public and
Sure.
and committing a terrorist act. It's not the same, dude. Because you could do that in your car.
Sure.
You could fucking roofie your fucking wife and your kid, put them in a car, and drive yourselves over a bridge.
Correct.
That's the exact same amount of people that have died.
And it wasn't a shooting, so it wouldn't be a mass shooting.
Right,
It
but the
would be a
different-
murder-suicide.
Exactly. But my point is,
Sure.
one is actually way worse. The second one's way worse. You know why? There's fucking now we damaged a bridge. Now we got to fucking pull the fucking vehicles. Now he traumatized an entire city of people instead of just his direct neighbors. Like seriously, no, I'm fucking serious, dude.
No, I hear you. But
I'm fucking serious, dude.
I don't know what the distinction.
He
here
killed
is.
the same amount of people. One
Sure.
is more expensive than the other, right? So with all things being equal,
Okay.
him killing his wife and his daughter in the privacy of his own home only affects that house and the immediate surrounding neighbors and passively the entire neighborhood.
Sure.
But he drives off the fucking Golden Gate Bridge. The entire city of San Francisco is affected, both literally with cost and in the news and in the trauma and in the depression.
I hear you.
And if it
Sure.
makes national news, now the entire fucking country is worked up about it, right?
Sure.
Only one of those things result in our constitutional rights being violated because one is considered a mass shooting and one is considered a murder-suicide, even though they're the exact same thing
Sure.
with the exact
I
same
hear you.
amount of lives being taken. That's one random example of what I'm trying to explain.
Sure.
So saying
I
there's...
think guns make killing people a lot easier than.
Yeah, that's the fucking
Bah.
point. So if a guy breaks into my house...
No, I
and he's bigger
understand
than me,
self-defense.
if he's bigger...
I understand
No, but,
self-defense.
but
argument.
most people don't. I'm not... A,
Sure.
we got to make these cases as they come up.
Sure.
If this is what people don't understand, if one or two guys break into my house and they're bigger than me, and I don't think I can physically beat them to death or beat them to the point where they flee my house,
Right.
and they're going to rape my wife, I do not have to put my life at risk
Sure.
in order to save her life. That's the point of a gun.
Sure.
Okay? If we don't have guns, we have to go back to sword combat.
Sure.
Where now elderly people can't protect themselves.
Right.
Where now obese people can't protect themselves.
Sure.
Anybody who's not the biggest, the strongest, and the fittest can't protect themselves.
Sure.
To demonize guns is to only endorse bullies. Like
Sure.
literally. This is why I think anybody who's anti-gun, and I'm going to say you guys, even
Right.
though I may not be talking about
I
you.
mean, you've been yelling at me like I've been fighting you. On gun rights.
But that's what we're doing, right? But here's the problem with that is you guys basically are just giving everything back to survival of the fittest.
Sure.
The biggest, the strongest, the fastest, the smartest. They say God made everybody.
It's funny. That's what
but
Chad
cult made
culture is
everybody
all
equal.
about, man.
What do you mean
That's-
Chad culture?
Oh, like your
Like the bro gym
yeah,
culture?
yeah, the pro gym people,
Fucking
yeah,
douchebags.
yeah. I mean, that's what they're all about is survival of the fittest. Like, oh, these libs are just so weak, snowflake, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and I don't want them running anything either.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
dude, they're douchebags, dude.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want them. And if you take away all the guns, they run everything. Because just big guys with brass
Sure.
knuckles shows up and nobody can do anything.
Yeah. No.
And especially in a neighborhood like this where the cops can't show up and defend anybody in
Right.
real time.
Sure.
Bro, come on.
No. And
So you're right.
so-
Guns make it
yeah,
easier to kill
yeah,
people.
yeah,
That's the fucking point.
No, and I get that. And I think the fear of gun ownership from criminals is a factor, and I think there is something good about that. But
They say a polite society is an armed society. I don't know if I believe that
yeah,
either. But,
yeah. I mean,
Because they have just as
It's-
many fucking
it's the
shootings
tough-
and shit
I mean,
in Texas. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
it's the tough thing about guns. Really, is to have an absolute right is also resigning to
Oh, I
the
don't
fact
believe in an
that
absolute right.
right. Well, what's the line?
I'm not one of those what you would call a constitutional carry guy, which
Yeah.
means even if you're a criminal, you can still carry a gun.
Yeah,
No,
what's your line on that then?
all the laws that are already in place?
Okay.
Like once you're a violent criminal, once you're a felon, no, you're done. You've lost those things. Like you don't have the right to vote. You don't have the right to fucking. But I do. Ironically, I do believe even if you're a felon, you should be allowed to run for president. And
Sure.
you know why?
No guns for Trump, but
Correct. You
nuclear
know why?
button.
You know why?
Sure.
Nelson Mandela.
Sure.
Because if we start saying you can't be a criminal and run for president, then guys like Nelson Mandela never become president.
Sure.
So you're allowing somebody to just simply charge you with a crime before you run, and now you're ineligible.
Sure.
You could just annihilate every single political opposition.
Right.
So that's what people need to understand. When I say these things, it may sound like I'm defending Trump, but I'm not. I'm defending the potential of you.
Right.
That's what I'm really defending is like
Sure.
any law we put in place to control people could be used against you. And that's how all of us should be thinking, but we're not. What we're thinking of is, well, let's pass this law to stop these bad guys. And that's a problem because then all somebody has to do is figure out a way to reinterpret that law and call you a bad guy, and now that law is used against you. And that's real. That happens all the fucking time, including to fucking blue-collar people, rich people, white people. Nobody's protected when it comes to this level of corruption. And that's why everything used to be built the way it used to be built. That's why I'm so fucking hell-bent on this shit. And it really has nothing to do with party politics or loyalty, which is why I sound like I'm always yelling at everybody, not just you, but everybody, is because I think a lot of you guys do forget this. And a lot of you guys, not you, the proverbial you, a lot of you guys forget to think your own passions and principles and thoughts through to the second, third, and fourth step, how it could immediately turn against you. And maybe that's a fucking sports thing that I learned, you know, like you don't just shadily hit the best player in their knees. Well, let's take them out of the game. Fuck them. If we hit Brett Favre in the knees, they can't compete. Let's hit Tom Brady in the knees. Let's hit Patrick Mahomes in the knees. Well, then the other team just hits all your best guys in the knees.
Right.
And now you got a bunch of fucking scrubs. Yeah, you might have won this game, maybe, but now you can't compete the rest of the season. You know what I mean? That's how I think.
Sure.
And I don't think anybody is really thinking like this, including some very smart people on both sides of the aisle.
Sure. I mean, I think this kind of goes back to just putting laws on top of laws on top of laws. And we've got, hundreds of thousands of pages of laws, and it's gotten so complex that even your greatest lawyer is like overwhelmed by the amount of legal things that come into play with any given issue and precedents from all different courts. And it's just really, the legal system has gone so far that we're almost at a point where we need to like look at overlap of laws and
so
be
let
like,
me ask
okay,
you this.
what's working on these things interlock together. What can we do to make this one clear law and get these two laws that conflict or whatever it might happen to be?
No, that makes sense.
Just
So
kind
let me
of
ask you this.
whittle down some of this stuff so it's less complex and doesn't require a visit to a law library to understand what you're being charged with or something like that.
So let me ask you this as we kind of wrap this up in the next half hour here. We both support the idea of funding Ukraine because I think we're both wise enough to understand Putin's not stopping at Ukraine. He wants Poland. He needs everything up to that valley.
Yeah.
Because it's about a literal land defense. Because there's you're not going to be able to pull this up, Steve, because you gotta. It's not even on Google Maps. This is how fucking weird Google Maps is. But basically, if you look at Europe and you understand military strategy and terrain, there's two mountain ranges that kind of choke point themselves. And in order for Russia to truly defend themselves from a land invasion, they need to basically control everything up to that valley, to that choke point.
Is that old USSR then?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's how everybody... It's basically into Poland, right? I don't know if it's all of Poland. I don't remember exactly where it is, but I studied this a while back when Russia first invaded Ukraine. Because I was trying to figure out what was happening because none of the narratives made sense. This entire idea that like, oh, they only did it because we kept bringing NATO closer to their border. I'm like, that just doesn't actually make sense.
It's weird that he pushed the gas on it. I thought he had something possibly terminal.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So that's what I think. I think he knows he's dying, and because he's
whether it's still going on or not, I think it might be too late, even if he was like cured of it or whatever. He's in remission.
I see. So maybe he was cured by now, but he's already balls deep.
Yeah, he's like,
he's already balls deep in that ass. So now he's got to finish the mission. But no, that's exactly what I said on this podcast. When it first happened, is I said, I think he's got a terminal diagnosis. He wants to go down with a third face on that wall. He wants it to be Lenin, Stalin, and Putin. Yeah. Right? It even sounds good. Lenin, Stalin, Putin. Yeah. It's all two syllable. You know what I mean? And he sees his face up there. So he knows the only way he can truly, truly establish his legacy is to take back the USSR.
Yeah.
Right? But then the more and more I thought about it, I was like, okay, that might be his motivation to do this. But
or at least the brainworm that was like, go, go, go.
But
go.
the where, when, and the how, and when to stop, where to stop, why to stop.
Yeah,
I think that you have to start going just straight up military logistics, and that's what I think it's
Oh,
in.
sure.
I know it's in Poland.
Sure.
I just don't know if it's the west side of Poland, in the middle of Poland. But the idea is you
And then you
control that valley.
fortify
You control that
around
valley.
there, sure.
A land invasion into Russia is basically impossible.
Sure, I see.
It's essentially impossible. That's how the Nazis got through, because they already controlled Poland,
Sure.
and that's literally the point. Is like the Nazis don't even do what they do
yeah.
if Russia doesn't allow Germany to invade Poland in the first place.
And then they went and fucked them up real good.
Yeah. Yeah. But I am turning on Zelensky because it seems like he's on coke. It seems like he is now given into a similar level of corruption that he was very, to me, obviously fighting
Sure.
for a long time. What do you think of Zelensky specifically, since we both kind of still agree?
Yeah, no, I'm open, I guess. You know, our view of him is limited to kind of what when he visits and like an occasional
Put some balls on it. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I just don't. I guess I don't really have any clear. I guess it's kind of in play with Putin.
I guess what I'm
really,
saying is
because
this.
I don't know what victory looks like for Putin. I don't know what the end of this looks like for Putin. I don't know
okay,
at
let me
what
simplify
point
this.
he gets
Let me-
on the mission accomplished.
Let me
boat
simplify
and
this
says
then.
it's over. We did it.
Let me simplify this then.
Sure.
I guess what I'm saying is if I'm president,
Sure.
I'm still funding Ukraine,
Yeah.
but I'm putting pressure on Zelensky to have elections.
Yeah. Oh,
If he's
yeah. No, I'm with
reelected,
you.
if
Yeah.
he's reelected,
then
stay
this
in
is who
power.
we're dealing with. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
but
I'm with you.
but,
No,
like-
suspending elections is real weird.
right. So
Because
like I'm not cool because
even
it's
if
starting to seem
Yeah.
like
He's like, I'm the man now. I'm
Yeah,
running no
yeah.
matter what. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I do think, that's a really weird. I feel like even knowing Zelensky's background, being kind of actor, comedian guy before he even ran this, that when he started running, it was like, is this a joke? Is this a comedy thing?
almost like Trump.
Exactly.
Because
And-
Trump, people don't want to admit this, but Trump was a prop candidate. He was propped up by Hillary.
I know he's funny, dude.
He didn't.
Man. That's
he didn't know he
that's
was
the
going to win.
thing.
Though he
Yeah,
didn't
I
know
don't
he
think
could win
knew. Yeah.
until like halfway through, and they were like, "Dude, you might actually win." He was like, "Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Cool." And then once he won, he was like, "Now what the fuck?
What do I
we
do? Yeah. No, I know, and that's why I think the second Trump presidency is dangerous, far more dangerous than the first, because he's had 4 years to get people who know how to pull levers a lot more than he ever did before, and
I don't know, man.
This
we
is-
had 4 years
this
of
is
no
a-
wars, dude. Like
this is something.
Like he did do the Abraham Accords. We didn't have any of these problems under Trump.
The Abraham Accords are a big part of what Hamas has been real mad about. So it's hard to say we're in the clear on that. He
But here's
very
the
well
thing,
may
dude.
have
Here's the
instigated
thing. I
October
mean,
7th.
They're terrorists. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about Palestine. I'm not talking about
No,
Hamas. Like
No, I know. Yeah. No.
they've been doing
They-
shady shit for a long time.
No,
What they're mad about?
They're always looking
what
for a
they're-
reason.
Exactly.
Like
That's
any
what I was going to.
terrorist.
Thank
Yeah.
you, because
No, I'm
that's
with you.
exactly what I was
I'm
going to
with
say. Is what they're mad about is not really a relevant topic.
Yeah, it's a moving
Because
target.
exactly,
It's-
that's what I was
yeah,
going to
yeah.
say. Is that'll change next week?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, only if you do
I do
this.
think there does
Yeah.
need to be a two-state solution down there, though. I think the biggest problem, though, is when you try to look at the territory and you try to logistically carve it up and give them their own state. Because I don't think, when I say two-state solution, I don't mean one. I don't mean like basically there's the Democrats and the Republicans
Yeah,
running one state. I mean
Right.
like two separate territories with their own governments, their own militaries. But the problem is that as long as Hamas has any legitimate political influence, and they're backed by Iran, which is secretly backed by Russia for now, Like, this is why I keep trying to tell everybody, you guys, you're all being small-minded. We're headed for World War III.
Sure.
Like, this is not going to stop. It's an escalation. Russia and China have been doing this for a long time, and it's working. And basically what they've done...
That North Korea visit was pretty wild. The Putin-North Korea visit.
Well, the crazier visit...
They got real wild together, man.
Dude.
It looked like they might have had a hotel room together. They were really getting into it.
So I don't know much about this. I need you to school me on this. But what's crazier is how nobody gives props between what Trump did with North and South Korea when he was in office. So again, we want to talk about we want to talk about dangers,
tweeting at
but
each
like
other and the love letters and.
So what are you talking about with Putin and North Korea?
Oh, so Putin just
Murph, see if
visited
you can
North
pull this
Korea
up.
really recently. Putin gifted Kim a like really top-notch security limousine so he can cruise around bulletproof style, Putin style. They had beyond the red carpet rolled out for Putin. Huge icons of both of them up. Like, they've been best friends forever. I mean,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
even when
this is happening, you guys, we're
Putin's-
going to World War III.
Putin's leaving on the plane and he's like waving out the window. Dude, I've never seen Putin look so like enamored with anybody. And he's like, oh, this is such a fun visit. Like Putin hated to leave is what it looked like, which was like,
Is this it? Is this it?
oh yeah, there's the limousine. Yeah.
All right, hit play on this, Murph. Let's,
Check
let's
it
see
out,
this.
dude. They're driving around
Hold on.
together.
This is 4 minutes. This will be a good way to wrap
Oh,
up the
man.
fucking podcast.
It's
Jesus
wild.
Christ. I have not
Dude,
heard of any
this
of
is
this.
really recent. It's like a month ago.
Unmute this. What are we watching?
I mean, to even
So this
trust,
is his limousine,
he gifted him. He brought
but
this.
he's driving.
Yeah.
He brought it.
He's like, let me show you.
So he's driving his limousine that he's giving him.
Can you imagine these two?
I think it's insane that Putin's driving.
Right.
Like,
That's what I'm
like
saying.
Putin's
All
driving.
of this is wild.
When's the
man.
last time you seen a U.S. president drive? Seriously.
You're right.
Oh, one of them was doing it on the White House lawn. Remember, he used to take his car from the front to the gate. Do you remember that? Who was that?
I know. Elvis.
I actually think that was Joe Biden. Now that I think about it, I think that was
one
fucking
of those
when he was vice
old-
president.
Oh shit.
So they're walking around jerking each other off,
Yeah. I mean, this isn't even getting
talking
into
about how
like
big
the
each other's
huge
dicks
event.
are. Do you see? He's like, my dick's this big. Like they're laughing about it too. They're like, oh, that's so funny how big your dick is.
Yeah, the translator's just like, we're just gonna say whatever they want to hear. We know what they want to hear. You say what you.
You got to think though, if you're Vladimir Putin, you had to have spent time to learn these languages, so you can't be
a little
duped by
bit.
an interpreter.
Yeah. At least like.
I would.
So-
If I'm president, I'm learning Spanish. I'm learning Russian. You know what I mean? Like, because those are our next door neighbors.
Yeah,
like,
like,
I'm not being duped by an oligarch
Yeah, maybe
or a diplomat.
traditional Chinese and.
Dude, fucking. So, I
So,
have
yeah,
a lot
this
of
is all
faith,
just
though.
gonna-
I have a lot of faith, though, because as corrupt as we are, dude, I think the Chinese communist system and the Russian communist system, I think not only are they so corrupt, I think between population collapse and have you heard about their what do they call it, education zenith or something like that? It's basically like they now have too many educated people
No.
and none of them can get good jobs.
Oh.
So they're all
That's
becoming disillusioned with their communist government. So China's like basically on the verge of a civil revolt.
Because
Because-
everybody's too smart.
Yeah,
to,
and
like,
nobody's getting
put
these
up with the drone stuff.
and nobody's getting like
essentially.
these
Yeah.
high-paying jobs because all the jobs have been filled.
Right.
And so now they're just like Americans. They're like super in debt.
Yeah.
And they're like having to get like low menial like fast food jobs. So like basically a bunch of them are just refusing to work and it's draining their economy, dude. They have so many problems in China because their whole economy is built on bullshit.
And they drug down the COVID lockdowns for so long that they didn't start their economy till like 2 years after we did. Or,
Dude,
I
that
mean, it was
shit is a
long
drop in the
time.
bucket, dude. That
But
shit is a drop in the bucket.
They
of
roasted
what
their
I'm
own
talking about.
economy though by hanging out too long on it.
They also have 75% of their wealth is built in real estate.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Whereas
Some of
in-
those ghost towns are so wild. Those
Whereas-
ghost
whereas
apartments,
us-
like projects.
Whereas us, only 25% of our wealth is built in real estate, which matters.
What do you think is going on in those old? Do you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
I know exactly what. So I'll tell you
Like,
what's going on.
I
Here's what
mean,
it is.
Those places
I'll
gotta
explain
just
it.
be rotten from the inside.
So I'll explain it in exact detail, real fast too. It's simple. So here's what it is. They passed a law that says I'm going to develop this plot of land. So not only am I allowed to sell plots of land, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm allowed to take more money than what it's worth, right? So the estimated value of the land after we're done.
Sure.
So for example,
okay.
normally what I would do is this is $1 million worth of land,
Right.
and that's what it's going to be worth immediately when I'm done, right? So I can take in
Who-
$1 million
Sure.
worth of money to build this plot of land. But then they passed a law that said, well, you can estimate what it'll be done like a year or two after that and take that amount if you want.
Oh,
Because there was
wow.
so much demand.
Sure.
Because there was so much demand.
Yeah.
So then they were like, so now we're going to take
like,
$3
we got
million.
too many people. We're gonna definitely fill.
So
these
now they
places
take
up.
$3 million for a $1 million plot of land, and the justification is they were going to take the extra money and invest it into the next plot of land,
Oh, sure.
right? So
You
they
just
were
stop.
reinvesting it, but of course that never
Yeah,
happened.
you're just gonna stop.
So
at
it's
the
a
300 million
Ponzi
or
scheme
whatever.
is
Like,
what
it's
it
good.
is.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
So-
yeah.
so at some
they
point in time-
MLM'd
Yeah, exactly. So at some
real
point in
estate.
time, really quickly,
Yeah.
they developed more land than they could
Yeah.
fill.
Yeah.
That's
They're like,
exactly what it was.
every
At
child
the cost
gets
that
an
they sold it
apartment.
at. So it's not that they
Yeah.
developed more land than they could fill. Sorry, I misspoke.
Sure.
They developed more land than they could fill at the cost that they sold it for.
Oh, sure.
So now you end up with these bankrupt ghost towns that are half built. Yeah. And so there's that. There's the fucking the workers that are just refusing to work because
Yeah.
they're fucking college educated people who are smart now, and they're like, everything you promised me is a lie.
Yeah, like-
Yeah, because it's communism and everything fucking sucks, right? So they've got, and then they have a population collapse going on. So does Japan. So does Russia. We are supposed to be going into a population collapse, but I think that's why we're secretly allowing 100,000 immigrants.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? In 1 month in one area is, I think that's how we're trying to fight population collapse here. Because we actually are supposed to be headed. The numbers show us going into a population decline, but our population keeps going up because of our immigration. That's why. And I think that's the secret conspiracy behind the open border policy.
Sure.
Is we're going, yeah. This is
No,
how
we
we're
need
gonna win
workers.
This.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the low,
I mean, that's been
menial,
the story
underpaid,
for 40
undereducated
years.
jobs.
You know, is
Exactly.
it's been why our border, no matter who's in power, gets.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
keep having less and less kids.
Yeah.
And there's less and less people to fill those uneducated worker jobs. This is built in. This is
Yeah.
a metric.
Yeah, it's a
this is
fascinating
not a
thing.
metric. This is something that's built into video game engines. If you play City Skylines, or
Oh,
if you
sure.
play
SimCity,
Tropico,
stuff like that. Sure.
you need a certain amount of people that are uneducated to fill a certain
Sure.
percentage of jobs that require or only require people without an education, right? And then there's a certain percentage of jobs that you need a minimum of a high school education,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody who has a college education doesn't want that job.
Right.
So then you need the correct percentage of available jobs for college education,
Right,
and
right.
and even farther, like a master's
Mhm.
and professors and doctors and doctorates is what I mean by that. So there's levels to it, and when you have too many overeducated people,
Mm-hmm.
you have people working jobs that are below their educational skill set, which the only reason our economy has survived is because a lot of those jobs have been supplemented by machinery,
Mhm.
automation.
Yeah.
So, when they think, these fucking immigrants took our jobs, it's like, well, yeah, because you didn't want them
You
anymore.
weren't gonna do it. Yeah.
And, these machines, earlier in time than that, these machines, they're taking all our jobs. It's like, yeah, because you're all too smart to do this job.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you're all going to go into marketing and fucking sales and something
Mhm.
that takes a human, because I can have a robot do this
Mhm.
thing. And we're about to go into the next version of
Another
this
one.
with AI and fucking
And there's limits to all of it too, which is, I mean, AI can do a lot, but it's still, you still need a physical person to like pull the brakes on.
I know
So,
exactly.
yeah.
I know
AI
exactly
is
how I
actually
want to wrap
all
this
gas,
up now.
no brakes in itself.
I know
is,
exactly how I
like,
want to wrap this up.
it's
So I
the-
want to get your
sure.
thoughts on this. So
Great.
the first thing that got attacked by AI is what? Art.
Oh, sure.
Ironically, it was art, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like
You can make some pretty awesome art pieces just
and music.
goofing around with AI.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a meme going around that says like I wanted AI because I wanted it to do my dishes and my yard work so I could concentrate on art. I didn't want it to do art, so I was forced into doing dishes and yard work, right?
Nice. Yeah.
But I think that's the
Perfect.
first wave,
Yeah.
right?
Software.
So I think and I said this on the last podcast you produced. I think this is an original take that I haven't heard from anyone anywhere on the internet ever. So every once in a while, I'm an
Hold
idiot
on.
and have a good take.
Write this down.
So here's what I think, dude. And tell me what you think about this.
Sure.
So if I can jump into an AI program and create Drake level bangers or Metallica level bangers,
Sure.
right? The best of the best. What value is there in that anymore? Zero, right?
Sure.
Okay. If your 12-year-old autistic neighbor can create better music than you ever could, no matter how much you practice the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
what value is there in that anymore, right? None,
Sure.
right?
Well,
So ironically,
it depends on. I mean, it's always dependent on the listener. Everything in music is subjective. In
but I'm
art,
already
yeah.
irritated with DJs and electronic musicians, right? Because I'm
Sure.
like, dude, you just created a 4-bar loop. Like, fuck off. That's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
That's not real, right?
Yeah. You move
So
this stuff around on your
even-
computer
even-
screen, and yeah.
Even in hip hop, I like the acts that have a real band with a real drummer,
me too.
right? And a
Yeah.
real bass player, right?
Same.
Even though it's
Every
hip hop,
time. Yeah.
right? Like
Every time.
you go watch Lauryn Hill. Sometimes she has a real band and it's fucking breathtaking.
Yeah.
You go watch her and
I
she's
was
playing
at
with
that,
a DJ. It
that
sucks.
Mystic. It was awesome, man.
You know what I mean? So like, okay,
I
so
hope they release a full DVD of that Miseducation tour because it was
dope, right?
it was wild.
So
yeah.
ironically, that was the perfect example to use. But okay, so here's my point. What I think is going to happen is creating catchy music will
Sure.
no longer have value. You're going to have to somehow prove what you're doing is better than what I can do in my basement
Sure.
in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, I think it's going to actually, ironically,
Push. Yeah.
push live music,
Mm-hmm.
specifically rock music with live instruments or pop music with live instruments.
Sure.
The Britney Spears dancing, the big band, the
lip
trumpet
sync.
players, the black girls as the backing vocals, the whole shebang, the whole dramatic performance. I think ironically that's going to come back.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that's going to matter, because everybody's going to start using AI to help them write banger tunes.
Sure.
The only thing that's going to matter is can you get on stage and actually perform that shit live and entertain me like a stand-up comic, right? Or a play.
Yeah.
Like, because there's going to be a massive amount,
think
not
we've
just a
been-
small,
yeah,
a massive
I
amount
think
of
it's been
people
coming back.
that are going to literally want and crave the human performance element.
I agree.
Just like people are addicted to TikTok and short attention spans, there's an equal, if not larger, amount of people that are interested in engaging in long form content like this stupid podcast or Joe Rogan or
Sure.
any other long form. What do you think? Does that make sense? Are you following
Oh
me
yeah,
down that
no.
rabbit hole?
I mean, I go to more live shows than anybody I know, and no, you see an interesting ebb and flow of crowds, but I would say people are more into it than ever because their, I don't know, entertainment pleasure center, whatever it is, that thing's getting dinged all the time, whether it's through social media and likes or just TikTok short attention span style like that, or having the entire Spotify, Apple Music, having everything at your fingertips all the time. You're getting that pleasure center, that nostalgia, whatever that is, that's getting rung whenever you want it. There's no like, oh, I needed to go sing that song at karaoke because that's how I hear that song, or whatever. There isn't that need, but you can't replace Taylor Swift herself playing that guitar in front of you, playing your favorite song in front of you. There is nothing
Right.
that compares to that
Right.
moment of
Or
you
when-
and that singer.
Or when fucking Kurt Cobain is performing, I think it's No Apologies
Sure.
on that acoustic show.
Yeah.
And he takes that
Fun.
deep breath and opens his eyes
Yeah.
and hits that last note.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's gonna.
There's
I think it's
nothing
gonna
that
return to
replaces
that.
that.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, there's.
I think we're gonna make a return back to that
Yeah.
because it seems like live rock music is almost dead right now.
I think it's
A lot of people have been saying that it's in its death throes for a while.
but it's going to be a return to venues and not arenas. Is where I think we're really going. We've seen J-Lo getting tours canceled, the Black Keys thing canceled. These are some of the big kind of indicators, but I would say we're going to see a push for return. It's going to be J-Lo at the Orpheum or whatever. But that ticket's still going to be like $150 ticket.
So you were
but
saying
you're going to get more of an intimate experience. I think that's what we're going to return to, and the like arena tour is going to
so you were
kind of
saying
fizzle out. And
you
we're
were
gonna
saying everybody's dealing with sensory overload and all this shit with the right. And,
Yeah,
and so
oh,
you
I
think
think
people are
that-
seeking that or can?
I
Would
just
you say
don't
this?
think they need that. Like
if we were to,
I don't know.
So if we were to describe indulgent entertainment
Sure.
as a diet, would you say that like the cell phone media, the YouTube,
Oh, and I didn't even get into Netflix and like Hulu and having all
of it,
that stuff.
all of it, would
I
you
mean-
say that's the sugar of our art diet, whereas like
Sure.
live
Yeah.
performances
The fast,
is
fast
the
punch.
protein?
Yeah, exactly.
So like
And,
when you go see a
movies,
live concert, it's
it
like
used to
really
be-
satiating artistically. When
Yeah.
you see a live concert,
Yeah.
it's satiating artistically. It can impact you for like months,
I would say
even
that,
possibly years or a lifetime.
Possibly, yeah. Oh,
Whereas
yeah.
like
Yeah, I'd go
when
there.
you're on
I mean,
TikTok,
I'm exactly the person that's going to tell you yes to that. But, yeah.
but when you're on TikTok or YouTube Shorts, it's I need my
It's
next hit of
quick
dopamine.
stuff. Yeah,
next,
yeah.
next, next,
it's
next,
quick.
next.
It doesn't last.
Would you agree with that, Murph?
I mean,
So TikTok is the sugar, right? All digital media is the sugar.
Yeah.
Live performances are the protein.
Oh,
well, yeah, and once upon a time that used to be like, and it still is for some people, but the like movie theater experience of a movie. But for a lot of people, they're like, no, I want to like pause. I don't want to spend $30 on popcorn and drinks. Like, I
yeah,
just
but the
want to
difference
like.
is though all of that is digital.
It is-
like even
right.
going to the movie theater,
Right.
you're not watching that live like a play.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But I also don't. I mean, I do know a lot of people who talk about like going to the movies and they love it and shit.
Yeah.
But when you listen to people who are into theater,
Yeah.
they talk about it enriching their soul.
Sure.
Nobody talks about that with movies. They talk about being
Sure.
inspired and like becoming a creative
Sure.
person and finding their passion in life. But nobody talks about seeing like even
They're
Aaron.
still
Fucking,
living
you brought
off
up
of
Aaron
their
Rodgers
favorite.
earlier, right? I fucking
Sure.
hate that guy. He's a soft little bitch. I'd beat his ass in a dark alley. Fuck that guy. But I even heard him and his
Sure.
fucking whack ass talk about when he went to New York. He was like, "Bro, I went and seen a play. It was fucking amazing." Like even his douchey ass
Yeah.
was like, dude, it's not the
Right.
same
It's not the same.
as like seeing a movie or like it.
I didn't watch that Hamilton thing, but like that like gave me hope that we could see like Book of Mormon like professionally filmed and like that we can actually
No,
bring,
there's something
bring
to it, dude, because-
theater. No, and I just think
You're right, dude. No,
We're
you're
priced out. Most people are priced out of. I'm gonna go check out this play when I could watch the movie.
But you're right though, because
But-
here's the thing, dude. That South Park live concert at Red Rocks, they put that on like Hulu or something.
oh, did they? Oh,
Bro, outside of the Metallica box set, live shit binge and purge, being
Yeah.
like 12 years old, I've never enjoyed a live concert on my fucking TV more than I have when South Park played with Primus
yeah.
at Red Rocks,
Oh,
and
man, I
they did
gotta look that up.
America, fuck yeah, dude. They did all of it live.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and I was like, dude, I was so like into it. So even through TV, there's
Right.
something seeing people perform, even with the fucking projections on the walls and all the digital shit.
I'm really
There's
surprised.
something to it, dude. There's
neither
something.
Netflix
It's the
or-
protein. It's the protein of art
You-
ingestion.
You can listen to Trans-Siberian Orchestra and really get off on it. But
Yeah.
you
Seeing
will
it is a whole-
bust
yeah.
a nut
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
see them live.
It's true. It's true.
And I was in the nosebleed seats,
Yeah.
and it was
So that's the
still
phrase,
amazing.
right? So this is the phrase to wrap up the podcast. This is it, right? So when you're ingesting art and you're thinking of it like a diet, right? With all this YouTube, fucking small screen,
yeah.
iTunes, Spotify, that's sugar.
Yeah.
But when you want some protein,
Yeah.
you got to go see live music.
Right.
And ironically, I think AI is going to actually accelerate people getting a better art diet because it's going to push people to seek that. Because anybody, you
And
literally,
know,
you don't
and
know how
know.
to. You're tone
Yeah.
deaf. You're my mom. My mom is notoriously tone deaf. Can't keep a
Sure.
fucking beat to save her life.
Uh-huh.
I could put a gun to her head and she can't fucking 1, 2, 3, 4 twice. She can't do that twice. Like I'm shooting her on beat 6. That's how bad she is, right? Like that's how fucking bad my mom is. Okay. Here's the point. She can go into AI, and if she just knows how to go, create me a song about this in the style of Stevie Nicks while she was with Fleetwood Mac.
Right. Sure.
Boom.
Yeah.
She's got her favorite song of all, and if she doesn't like it, she can go change the second
Yeah,
verse.
make it a
I don't
little
like it.
faster.
It's too Taylor
Yeah.
Swift.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And the AI is going to figure that out. So anybody's going to be able to create a banger. None of that's going to be valuable anymore. The only thing that's going to be valuable is going to see something play, going to see somebody play live music that they wrote from their fucking soul, even if it had the assistance of AI.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Hey, AI, help me make this chorus a little catchier, and then boom, it pumps out your chorus better. That's still from your soul.
Right. Right.
Which anybody can do. So the only value is going to be, are you going to be able to show up on stage and play that fucking guitar solo that it fixed?
Yep.
Or are you going to be able to show up on stage and let your voice crack or give that emotional facial expression that some little kid at 12 years old is going to go, I want to do music. Fuck physics, I'm doing music.
Yeah.
Physics is my backup plan now.
I mean, I'm seeing.
you know what I mean?
I'm seeing bands that
Because that's how we make the
didn't
world a better
sell-
place, is through inspiration.
Didn't sell out last time I saw them. Didn't have a big hit since I last saw them, but they're selling out the same venue the next time, which is like,
Who?
oh, I'm thinking of like Two Door Cinema Club specifically.
Okay.
Like I saw their Northern Ireland band, really great pop songs.
Okay.
They've done a lot of different stuff. Started their first 2 albums and check out everything after that. But the
Well, dude,
first
we
2
got
albums
to
are
we got to
banger.
do this again soon, dude.
But yeah.
You got to come on
Yeah.
again. It's been years since you've been on, dude. We'll do this again very, very soon. Like maybe even what I think you might need to do, because we're gonna do a election night podcast. I'm actually gonna
Sure.
take the Wednesday off work. Murph, if you want to do this with us, we're gonna take Wednesday off. We're gonna be here Tuesday night. Me and Jamal, who's a libertarian.
Sure.
You should do this with us, dude.
This is gonna
It's
be
gonna
a
be fun.
wild one, man. This
It's
is
gonna-
be,
exactly. It's
dude, this is gonna be.
We might even steal Joe Rogan's title and call
it
it the End of the World
It's
podcast.
gonna
You know what
be
I
a
mean?
wild one.
You should do
man.
it, dude. Do you
Yeah.
guys want to do it? I'm literally taking Wednesday off. Jamal's taking Wednesday off.
What date?
Election Tuesday. It'll be Election Tuesday night, November, whatever the fuck, the first
November.
Tuesday of November.
I may or may not have time off, so
Okay.
we'll see.
Well,
Yeah, maybe.
let's figure it
Put
out.
me
Let's
at a
figure it out
maybe.
because if you can't come, that's fine. But we gotta get everything set
Oh,
up to
yeah.
where I can button push on
we
my
gotta
own.
watch this though.
Well,
I've been waiting
hold
to
on.
show this to you.
Let's wrap this up because I don't want to play it on the podcast because we'll get flagged for it.
Nah.
So we're gonna wrap up the podcast, but I want to end the podcast on this phrase. If you guys are thinking of ingesting art like a diet, digital media is your sugar. Live music, live entertainment, plays, all of it.
Yeah.
Live entertainment is your protein. Digital is your sugar. Let's wrap it up with that. Fade out, and then let's watch this because I don't want to get flagged, dude.
Fade out. We don't have fade out.
Just end the podcast. Like, subscribe, Jared.